unique documentaries about Garry Kasparov, Vladimir Kramnik, and many other legends of chess. Streams from the biggest tournaments. World Championship, Magnus versus Nepomniachtchi, commented by Peter Svidler, Evgenij Miroschnichenko. The Candidates Tournament, Tata Steel Chess Tournament. Exclusive interviews, Daniil Dubov, Viswanathan Anand, Jean-Christophe Duda, Alexander Grishuk, and of course, awesome educational videos with elite international chess coaches. Play chess, love chess, and subscribe now. New video every week. Turn on notifications and don't miss all the exciting moments of the chess world.
Vishy, you played 2 matches against Carlsen. You are the most experienced match player against him, and overall, I'd say 6 matches is almost like you probably it's like the 3rd place in history in terms of amounts of matches you played. What do you expect in November, December in Dubai? Will there be any hard fight?
What can I say? I think the most important thing first is that Nepo's style is somehow incompatible with Magnus's, in the sense that for Magnus it's not easy to lock into this style. Mm-hmm. But whether he can actually, Nepo can keep the, I should probably call him Jan. He should keep.
Nepo is okay.
Yeah, he should keep the. He's the only one who probably has the ability to get this tactical style against Magnus. If he can keep the position sharp and tactical, and of course Magnus has improved a lot in the last years. So I don't think my old impression of him as, not that he was bad at it, but he seemed to avoid it then. Now he's not like that.
You mean
I think
avoid
Nepo will have chances
tactics?
if he can keep that. Sorry?
You mean Magnus avoided tactics before, right?
Yes, I think in 13-14, his technical thing was often he would choose the smallest advantage, simplify to the smallest advantage where there was no risk, rather than slightly easier solutions. Mm-hmm. But I think he was so confident that he would win anyway, that he would go for the smaller stage as long as it could be cleaned up. And in openings, then he tended not to take a lot of risk, because he felt that that's the one area where people could catch up, and he made a big effort to avoid that. He would avoid main lines like the plague before. Now that has changed. Of course, there's been so much computer influence recently that everyone has evolved. So, but still, I feel that Magnus is vulnerable under these circumstances. I mean, if the position is difficult enough, it's difficult for everyone. So, and Jan can do that. He has the talent to pursue it, but I don't so many. My problem is with Jan is that I don't see many paths for him to do that. I think he has the option to do it, and if he has worked well and he can be very intelligent about it, then he can get the kind of position where he's gifted. But Jan is also, he has huge swings, and that is a big question mark. He can swing on the up, of course, but he can also swing in the other direction. I mean, to himself on the last day in Zagreb, the final blitz day, is kind of, for me, the most recent example of what is he doing? Of course, it's blitz, and maybe you shouldn't read too much into it, but you have the sense of what is he doing? Because when he was playing well, it seemed effortless for him. So, of course, Magnus is a huge favorite, but Jan will definitely have his chances. For Magnus, it's inevitably getting difficult. I mean, it's already his 5th match.
Yes.
So I don't think the fire is burning so hard inside, and he's also been complaining about it for a while. Whereas for Jan, he should be very motivated now. So it can be interesting. Look, if I knew how to beat Magnus, I would have attempted it myself. So let's see if Jan can figure it out.
Vladimir, what do you think?
Yeah, in general, I agree with Vishy, but it's also the preparation is very important. We don't know anything about how they prepare, what they prepare, and I think the beginning of the match will be first few games would be maybe 3-4 games would be very important because it's difficult. And I remember when playing my first match with Gary. Well, you're under pressure, and if things would start to go wrong, it's anything can happen. And for me, the first 2 games was very important that I started to take the lead, or even the first game that I drew. All slowly I started to feel like, I'm just a very valid and serious opponent of the World Championship match. Frankly, I was not totally sure about it before the match, and. So for the challenger, it is important to, after the start of the match, to get the feelings that you are in that, that it's, that you are as valid as, I would say, valuable a player in the match as a world champion. Yeah, so it's somewhere deep inside you, and if it goes wrong, you might start to be shaky. It's even if you make four draws, you lose game 5, it's easier. It's okay, you are in the fight already. But so maybe, the first 2-3 games, in my opinion, might be very important. And if Jan manages those games without too much damage, he will get his confidence, and then it will be more difficult already for Magnus.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good point, that you get the feeling that you belong. That you're not out of place. You didn't just walk in and you accidentally got there. And once you have that feeling, then you become more confident. But every challenger probably has that phase where you think, what if it goes horribly wrong, what will people say? And so it's nice to get that off your chest a bit. Yeah.
It's also the match is 14 games now, which is it's already actually for Jan it's bad news, I think. And they made they made a schedule when they play 3 games in a row.
That's
yes,
right.
3. So I think it's a very negative, bad news for Jan, because Magnus is.
No, but it's not that important. I mean, again, if you're in good shape, if you're in bad shape, physical and psychological, and bad preparation, nothing will help you in the World Championship match. If you're in good, you can manage. Yeah, it's not easy to play 3 in a row, I agree, but you can manage everything. Yeah, so it's pretty much, depends on that, I believe. I mean, I agree with you, Ilya, that it works in the favor of Magnus because he's physically also extremely strong and healthy. But I don't think it is a decisive, point. Maybe, it's have to be ready, mentally also, and not only mentally ready for anything. Ready to play 2 games a day, to play every day. You have to be ready to fight,
that's
whatever are the circumstances.
Yeah, Magnus has been playing like I don't know, like computers are playing. He's been playing all the time for the last 9 months, 9 months. He's played 5-6 classical tournaments, then including World Cup, which is a very hard tournament, numerous online games. Vishy, do you think it could affect his play in the match negatively or?
Not at all. I think Carlsen is someone who cannot prepare at home for very long, so he needs this. But on the good side, if anything, he's getting better as it goes along.
Yeah.
So that normally you should be a little bit sick of chess on his schedule, but he's still motivated. He comes up with good result after another. It's impressive, and I attribute most of it to his fitness and his willingness to play every game till the end. I mean, even positions which are so dead, he somehow sits there and he's plodding along.
Yeah.
He has not lost this. And these 2 qualities, I mean, even in his worst form, these 2 qualities will keep him in any match. But it's really impressive what he has done. Jan has very impressive performances, but far fewer than Magnus. If you take their worst days, then Magnus is much stronger. Of course, on his best days, Jan is closer to Magnus, but on his worst days, he's much further away than Magnus on his worst days. And but Magnus's fitness, as long as that's his biggest strength, because in any match it allows him to stay competitive even at the end.
Fantastic. Are you planning?
What are your plans, by the way, Vishy?
Yeah, Vishy. What are your plans? Big tournaments?
At the moment, nothing yet. I'm looking forward to doing commentary in Dubai. I think it'll be a new experience. And
where you commenting on what channel?
For FIDE, the official broadcast.
Ah, the official broadcast. Whoa.
Yeah, and it'll be a nice experience to be there and not feel the tension.
Yeah.
But try to remember the tension because you want to try and communicate something. And after that, I will see.
Okay.
Hopefully, some tournaments will turn up next year and I'm fine. But anyway, thanks to Bundesliga, I will not be out of the rating list in a few months. Because otherwise, I would not have played a classical game for 2 years and
Oh, really? Yeah.
my rating would be retired.
Yeah.
So after Bundesliga, I lost 1 point, but at least I'm still on the rating list.
No, but I think that they introduced some new rules that because of COVID, they don't put people out of the list, no?
Yeah, no, but they extended it to 2 years from 1 year.
Yeah.
But I'm very close to 2 years. I mean, by February, I will finish 2 years. So without a classical game. Okay, nobody played classical chess for a long time, except the guys who played in Norway or something last year. The rest of us were not playing classical. Anyway, I'm joking. Of course, it doesn't matter. But okay, at least I got that out of the way.
Yeah. Looking at both of you, I remember the game you played in this Legends tournament online. We should organize something like that again. That was a fantastic game, actually.
Yeah, that's French.
Yeah.
This one, yeah.
It was really, really crazy.
Yeah. Game. No, it was a beautiful game when I played it, and I was very angry that I didn't win it. But then afterwards, I saw Rustam's annotations, and I was even angrier that I didn't see all. Because his annotations are even more spectacular. Because of course he put the engine, and the game was even more beautiful than I realized. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But you get this little bit by accident. It was. It's very special. That game, I think, maybe the most interesting Vladi and I played.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah. We played quite a number of international, but that was what entertaining. I mean, actually, I didn't care. I mean, well, not playing professionally already. I didn't care whether I win or lose. Even if I would lose, I would still enjoy it enormously. Yeah, because it's rarely that such incredible motifs are happening. Yeah, and on the chessboard. So yeah, that was was very, very nice. I mean, now as a chess amateur, I would say I kind of more tend to enjoy interesting games than pleasant results somehow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
no,
if it
and
comes
Vladi
together,
always starts
that is
many
just
years. Vladi starts many years early. I think when I realized he had played Berlin already like 2 years ago, before the match with Gary, he had started playing the Berlin, I think, in Vaikanze in some Blitz game and against Shiro. So he was already testing it well in advance. And already last year, Vladi was testing not to castle. So
yeah.
Always thinking ahead a bit.
No, but you started not to castle in 2008, Vishy. You played half of the games without castling in Bonn.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. So.
Of course, Vienna, I stay on E7. Then Meran, I stay in the center. And even the Nimzo, because I didn't have time to castle.
Two Nimzos.
Yeah.
F3 and Queen C2, yeah. So
both also. So a lot of not castling.
Okay, thank you very much, Vishy, for joining us. Thank you, Vladi, for doing this. I hope to see you someday, somewhere after this nightmare ends. And please stay healthy.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Vishy, and I hope to have a dinner with you in Dubai. Yeah, I will probably come for a few days at some point. So.
Yeah, I heard that you might be stopping by, so definitely we should catch up there. And I haven't seen you since only Dortmund. That's true. It's not so long.
You played in Dortmund.
Yeah.
Summer.
We
But
didn't
now-
ask him, but I saw him. So,
Yeah, but now the times have changed. You can sit for half a year at home and it feels like 6 years. So
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Will you
good
come
luck.
to Dubai by any chance, Ilya?
No, I will be commentating here on my channel, so I'll stay in Moscow, unfortunately.
Okay.
But
Okay,
if the
look after
match-
yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. See you guys. Thank you very much.
You play chess? You want to know all the secrets of grandmasters? You want to watch all current tournaments and know everything about chess history? Levitov Chess World is much more than everything above. Unique documentaries about Garry Kasparov, Vladimir Kramnik, and many other legends of chess. Streams from the biggest tournaments. World Championship, Magnus versus Nepomniachtchi, commented by Peter Svidler, Evgenij Miroschnichenko. The Candidates Tournament, Tata Steel Chess Tournament. Exclusive interviews, Daniil Dubov, Viswanathan Anand, Jean-Christophe Duda.
And hello, hopefully welcome back to the stream. And hope everybody recovered from yesterday. I'm not sure if I have. I don't know about you, Miro. I'm still sort of slightly dazed by yesterday's events, but
this night's events rather. Okay, so people in YouTube chat expecting a hangover stream, while in Twitch chat, I think I've summed up the the mood. No Kramnik, people leave.
yeah, I think Vladimir taking a day off here is a very sane decision, and we definitely appreciate him greatly when he's here. But after yesterday's 8 hours, I think taking a small break is very understandable.
Yeah.
We might have guests tomorrow, and they might not even be the same guests as usual, but we'll hold off on all the announcements for now. So the big question, of course, and we're not going to be recapping yesterday's game. I mean, we just there's not enough hours in the day, I think, to do a proper recap of any kind of yesterday's game. But what do we expect today? Do we expect a kind of a lower energy game, or like a full-blooded attempt by Jan to immediately strike back?
We expect a shorter game, like a really short game, relatively. I mean, kind of twice as short as yesterday, or kind of half a length of yesterday's game. I mean, which is relatively short. One shouldn't argue. Like it's
So like 70 to 73
be?
moves, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. I thought 68, but whatever.
Your
Right,
math is
seriously,
your
though-
math is slightly better than mine, yeah.
Seriously though, I want to. I mean, it's a big claim, but strangely, I want to claim that it's kind of a Jan's last chance.
Yeah, you will have to
And
run this
let
by me, yeah.
kind of elaborate on this, because okay, if he doesn't win today,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see him winning with black tomorrow. Okay, anything can happen, but highly unlikely. And
Fair.
then the rest day comes.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest day comes, and well, people do change, but as much as I know Jan, I don't think he's very stable. And the result going into the free day will be a lot of draws, quite a few missed opportunities, and a loss, and a painful loss in a 8 hours game or whatever it was. So it will be really, really hard to kind of come back. I mean, that's my take. Okay, last chance may be a bit, it's a bit of a harsh assessment, but it would be really, really nice to win today, and I think he absolutely has to try. So the idea of let's make a draw and recover and so on. Okay, if you don't have the powers, if you don't have anything left in you, then maybe it's not a stupid idea. But from the match perspective, me as the very experienced player of World Championship matches, of course, I see that he has to try to win.
Yeah, and that was also the conclusion. I think that's exactly what Kramnik said as well yesterday. He said you cannot possibly afford to waste white colors in a match like this, and What you're saying is a little bit harsh, but not unreasonable, purely from a psychological perspective. But of course, as we've seen already in this match, very much depends on the outcome of the opening. And I mean, so far, I think Game 3 and Game 5, Jan should be reasonably okay with the outcome of the opening, but Magnus continues jumping between all of those, anti-martial type positions. And if Magnus gets a very solid position today, it's going to be difficult for Jan to put you. I think what you're saying is sort of very solid advice, but I don't know how easy it will be to put it into practice.
Yeah, when I come up with all those psychological theories of revenge, I tend to forget that we are playing chess. It's not a boxing match. I mean, people were claiming me look like a boxing trainer of some sort, right? A boxing coach. So I tend to forget that, it's actually the game. It's kind of, turn-based strategy, not a real-time strategy. And, it really seriously depends on your opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people already in chat suggesting that he should just veer far away from all of the Spanishes they've been playing, and instead of the yet another discussion of this position, just play 1c4 on move 1, which I think is not impossible, but I think Jan and his team have figured out what the strategy for the match is, and obviously falling behind in the match score will have something to do with how he approaches today. But I think if he wanted to play c4, he would have played c4 already. But it does maybe offer him more of a chance to get a playable position with no theory. But the thing is, even c4 doesn't really promise it.
It really depends, Peter. I'm afraid. I mean, me, the guy who has no clue about the theory in any opening line nowadays, I seriously suspect that maybe something like c4 is what Magnus will be expecting. Okay, that there were a couple of tries in the Rui. It sort of worked to the extent, but never materialized into something serious. And then you lose a game, and it's very tempting. That's the first thing you want to do. Okay, let's change something. So it's playing the mind game. Mm-hmm. And if say we do have something with white in the Rui, I would repeat.
Yeah, I think. Game 3, we have seen that Jan was, definitely very satisfied with the outcome of Game 3 because he didn't even change the move a4 in Game 5. Game 5, this somewhat strange line with a4 rook b8. I think Magnus probably will be okay with the position he got because I'm pretty sure his play could have been improved sort of in the space between, I don't know, move 15 and move 19. It felt like he just wasn't entirely precise, and with slightly better treatment of that position, he would have been just completely fine. But also, I think generally, when people play the Spanish in World Championship matches these days, it often feels like you see a slightly different reply every game so that white cannot properly prepare. So it might be something else again. And yeah, I'm sure they're ready for c4. Jan is a regular enough player of the English that c4 will not come as a shock. And you're just, you're not guaranteed to get the game here as well. You're not guaranteed to, c4 doesn't just automatically mean that you will get some kind of a random position with a lot of play and then play it. And a lot of people, not today, but throughout the match, I think people are sort of pushing for, pushing is maybe strong, but like suggesting Jan can play the Scotch instead of all the, heavy theory Spanish positions. The problem with the Scotch is that there's a lot of heavy theory as well, but you're just not better as opposed to the Spanish.
Are you better in the Spanish though?
Well, a little bit.
Not really.
He got a little bit in Game 3, and he was definitely at some point seriously better in Game 5.
I was waiting for an argument that in Scotch there is no heavy theory because it's kind of solved. And it is to an
yeah,
extent, right?
to an extent, yeah.
People keep coming up with kind of new, fresh, weird and weirder ideas, like this H4 practically on every single move. Yeah, but the tendency doesn't look all that promising.
Not really, yeah. And I think the more it's being researched, the more it feels like against a well-prepared opponent, in particular in the knight f6 lines, you're just not going to get anywhere. And yeah, we have finally moves coming in, and it is once again a Spanish, as we've expected. Yeah, as we've expected. Bishop a4 played. Magnus also has no reason to do anything weird, so I think he will definitely float the idea of playing the Marshal, and Jan will once again, I'm pretty sure, say no to the pure Marshal. And yeah, we'll see what kind of an anti-Marshal we get today.
Maybe just play a pure Marshal, as some people in Twitch chat were suggesting.
I think the issue with that is, I mean, the central line of the Marshal these days is 12d3. And in 12d3, like in this position, Black has about like 5 legitimate choices in this position, which is a bit of a problem. Yeah,
5. You're not lying.
I'm not really. No, I think it's
okay. There's Bishop f5, Queen h4, which used to be the main, right?
Yeah, a6 a5 exists. Right? Rook a7 exists. Yeah, and also like in this position, there's an additional fork in the road where Queen h4 is supposed to be equal. Rook e8 is probably a draw.
Or Rook e8. Wait, the Bishop g6 Magnus's move still.
Yeah, Bishop g6 probably still holds up. Yeah. So the thing is, you're not even sure. Like you have to cover a lot of ground, and all of those moves are playable. And they are still.
So Rook b8 repeated.
So Magnus actually felt, as I said, that he probably just equalized out of the opening in game 5. So he's okay repeating it, yeah.
Early h3. h3 was played 2 hours and 10 moves later in this previous game.
Yeah, but this, I mean, they're still repeating game 5, which went d6, c3, before d3, and so on. So we haven't really deviated yet, and it's curious to see who actually deviates. Looks like it's Nepo, yeah.
Would you remind me what year was this game against Mickey played that reached this particular position? I mean, every single Spanish we have or had so far featured Svidler, Adams, or vice versa game.
No, Rook b8 is so rare that I don't think I've ever faced it, and I'm pretty sure I never played it. So this is a kind of a...
check him up.
Yeah. So Jan deviates first today with playing d3, not even playing c3 at all, which I think makes quite a bit of sense considering the fact that c3 in game 3 was instantly met by b5 before, removing more stuff from the board, kind of limiting the scope of potential plans for both sides. So he goes d3 today, and Magnus hasn't replied immediately, although I'm pretty sure he has looked at this at some point. So what do we think is like the range of options Black can go for? Magnus seems to really favor those kind of slow plans with h6, rook e8, bishop f8, and then perhaps bishop e6, perhaps knight e7, knight g6. This is what he was doing in game 3 as well. And here it also looks sensible. The immediate bishop e6 exists, but as I said in previous broadcasts, I think he just dislikes the structure from the Black side. I would be a bit surprised if he did this, even though it looks perfectly playable to me.
So my usual question, what happens after bishop e6, yeah?
Nothing much. I mean, White takes and claims that this is a weakening of the Black structure and we are just going to be slightly better for the rest of the game.
No, but that's wait a second. That's exactly what Vladimir was telling me. Like after c3, b4, okay, probably you don't play c3 here, right? You do something else. But yeah, so that's kind of...
We could do some kind of knight b3, bishop e3.
Is Miro sleeping? No, he's on his phone. Or was on his phone. Miro never sleeps. That's the big secret told on air.
So g3. Yeah, I'm knowing Magnus and keeping in mind what Magnus has been doing in this match. I'm expecting either rook e8 or h6. I don't know which one is more precise.
Mm-hmm.
And
Knight d7 all of a sudden?
Yeah, knight d7 maybe, but...
Because... and then you probably play c3 here.
Yeah, either c3 or there's maybe some argument for bishop e3.
You mean I cannot really take, right?
Yeah,
I mean, cannot really play knight c5 because takes bishop d5.
This might cost you some material.
Yeah, sometimes, yes.
You have to calculate.
There is still like compensation. Okay, that's not the compensation, but just a good position.
Yeah, maybe it's just good for
Unless you take f7, but I don't think it scares me all that much.
Yeah, I suspect this is fine for black, but as I mentioned, Magnus does tend to kind of lean very heavily towards those kinds of setups. You play h6 to kind of not have to think about knight g5 or bishop g5 ever again, then you go rook e8, bishop f8, and then you kind of reevaluate.
So what do you play then?
Hey Rhinestone, what do you play here?
It's it's not Smyslov with a weird inclusion of a4 or what was it called? This rook e8 h6 bishop f8.
I think that is the Smyslov of some sort. Yeah, the h3 h6 line. We're talking about this position: c3 d6 h3, and there is a very very slow, very kind of old schooly type of Spanish here where you just do this. The bishop often goes to d7, and you claim that nothing of value is lost. But you tend to get passive positions, and the fact that the a file is open is probably in white's favor. I'm guessing. I don't know. But obviously the big difference is the pawn is on d4 here. And the position we have in the game, white has the pawns on c2 and d3. And actually I think unlikely to play c3, d4 anytime soon. I guess we still do the usual stuff, right? We get the knight all the way to g3 or perhaps sometimes to e3. And then we also take a look at the position and see what's what. Going for another complicated draw, and also many other comments in chat saying that Magnus will just take a draw today. When we were talking about Jan's outlook on the game, we kind of did mention that it's not entirely up to him, but it also, by the exact same token, not entirely up to Magnus. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind a comfortable draw today, but he's not going to be given a comfortable draw. He'll have to work for it. On knight c3, yeah. Knight c3 is also logical.
Okay, this thing. And then once again, we are back to comparing all that to say a3 marshals. Okay, you would know much better than myself, but right, like remember basically MVL Aronian marshals. Can I call it that? But
yeah,
but there is no h3, right?
Yeah, there is no h3.
Would go bishop g4, bishop e3. I mean something like that.
And those lines are. I think this is probably the closest we will see in these lines, right? Like d3. They play d6. We play a3 to stop knight a5. Castles, knight c3. And comparing this position with this position. This one should be better for white. Like in comparison, I'm not sure white is better. That's a different thing altogether. But I suspect this is a better version for white compared to the a3 lines here, because the open a file with our rook on the a file should be in our favor. We also got to play h3 quite early, so we don't even have to consider bishop g4, just as Miro said. And yeah, we keep kind of flexible plans here. Sometimes knight d5 is not stupid, in particular with the knight on the square it is. Like if you play rook e8 here, maybe I can go knight d5. Although, yeah, these positions, the knight can go here, and these positions are often very level. White sometimes gets some pressure, but the bishop on b3 is kind of so stupid, blocked by its own pawn, that black is not in too much trouble normally here. And if you take with the bishop, we can go knight b4 and then play c5, I guess, and then get back to c6. But we're not obliged to go to d5. The knight can also go to the usual squares y2 and g3 if white changes their mind.
Interesting. So we might get the knight on g3.
Yeah, knight c3 is still a flexible move. Yeah.
Kind of postpone c3. I don't think we are playing d4 without c3, right? Because it's almost always met with like swapping everything, going c5, c4, and that's usually not what white wants.
Yeah, the issue with that plan is that it's kind of slow. It allows black to achieve exactly what black wants to achieve, and maybe even bishop b6 here, and after the trade, the knight will get to g6, and even those positions sometimes are a little bit better for white, but the margins are very, very small, and you normally expect black to be able to equalize. So I'm more looking for a way to do something in the center, but I don't know what that something is. Maybe after rook e8 we can try something. No, but knight h4 always allows knight e4, right? So that's never.
That's something doesn't really work. Yeah.
Yeah. Another weird idea I had is maybe we can play bishop e3, and if bishop f8 happens, maybe this is a move I can make. But the problem is I don't know if I'm better as an outcome. Like rook takes b5, bishop a4 using the skewer, and also bishop e3 was needed to take away all the squares the rook could go to where it protects the knight on c6. But I'm not sure if I'm actually better. I might be.
You mean rook b2, bishop c6, bishop e7, right?
Yeah, but there is the e7 square for the queen here. Rook a8 doesn't actually achieve anything. We just trade a lot of material
You
here.
trade more stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this type of battle. Yeah, black has a bad bishop, right?
Yeah, but it's not enough.
I mean, it's all on one flank. You can't really separate the pawns much. It shouldn't be anything substantial.
Yeah, I don't think it's that great. I mean, it's a playable idea, and it's kind of a fun idea to discuss, just suddenly sacrificing a piece in a position where there seem to be no tactics, but it doesn't. I don't think it does very much. I can play queen c1 here, but the rook still has a perfectly comfortable square coming back. We'll see. Magnus weirdly hasn't played rook e8 yet, which is normally a kind of an instantaneous follow-up to h6. Having played h6, you normally, like, this is a very heavy indication that you want to do this in the next two moves. So what are the other options? Sometimes they play 94, but once again, I think this is not the place to do it. I think some position like this could be quite dangerous for black with like queen f3, knight f5 ideas. And c5, c4 is extremely difficult to achieve, I think, in general.
What was this Magnus's game versus Karyakin, one of the... Like bishop e6? I mean, so some early c4 push, remember? Something like that. Because it also looked like, optically, it looked very dubious, I must say. But then somehow it added up. So like bishop e6 here, for instance. And then I kind of want to play c4, and if you take, I take, and maybe the structure is not that terrible, unless e5 is good for you.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of critical, yeah. Takes, and
then you take, maybe, and then, I don't know, even bishop d6 shouldn't be completely ruled out, then take on g3, go some, I don't know, queen d5, rook e8.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have initiative, and you might have one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very possible this is playable. But in general, I mean, knight d4 is a move that destabilizes the position the most here. I think of all the black options here, knight d4 is the one that shakes everything up to the maximum. And considering he's now leading in the match, and you have to assume that he also is unbelievably tired, right? I think he said in an interview yesterday that the very end of the game he was absolutely running on fumes and could barely think straight, and which obviously is a very good indication of just how strong his autopilot is. But I think he would still prefer to keep the position kind of under control, and in terms of keeping the position under control, I think rook e8 is just a better choice compared to knight d4. Do you have any idea why Carlsen avoids the Neo-Archangelsk? Asks Alexandros. I think it's just... first of all, there appears to be some issues currently with the state of theory in the let's call it the Yurtayev. Yeah, I think I was told to call it Muller-Yurtayev lines. Like in particular, if you start with b5, bishop c5,
there's been... care to show the moves so that I know what you're talking about. I mean, you've mentioned like 5 names, Peter. None of those sound any familiar.
Yeah, these lines. I think starting with b5, bishop c5, there's been some developments in a4 rook b8, and a4 bishop b7 has never really, I think, properly equalized, even though it's not at all unplayable. So people shifted to starting with bishop c5 on move 5.
Mm-hmm.
But here as well, I think there are some ideas for white, even though I think currently this is the line that stands better. Like if you compare b5, bishop c5 and the immediate bishop c5, I think the current thinking is you're supposed to start with bishop c5 and only play b5 on the next move, because this actually kind of rules out some of the options. If after bishop b3, for instance, you are no longer committed to playing rook b8 in this position, you can play bishop g4, which is something that people have been doing. There have been some very interesting, very sharp games recently. There was an absolutely crazy game played by Nikita Vityugov in Riga against... I will not be able to remember who against, but he won I think it went something like h3, bishop h5, d4, bishop b6, like g4, bishop g6, g5, knight e4, bishop d5, and some kind of absolute mayhem ensued. And he ended up winning some kind of an exchange down position like this. So currently, I believe bishop c5 stands a little bit better than the classical Muller-Yurtayev. We'll see. But the question was, why isn't he playing this? I think he was never really a very active player of this system. He always preferred the more sort of classical approach of the martial anti-martial.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but I think this is, once again, as someone who has no clue about the theory of this line whatsoever, it does look much more targetable, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay,
absolutely.
if you have this, like you've played it once, maybe as a surprise, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then the very next game, you probably are a bit afraid to repeat.
Yeah,
so it's kind of not solid enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although I will say I'm extremely both surprised and kind of in awe, because Alexei Shirov has been... Basically, Alexei Shirov scored whatever it is that he scored in Riga, +3, right? Basically beating everybody in the system with black. And he kept on playing it throughout the tournament against very, very strong opposition. And I think he won a couple of games and drew against MVL and against others. So it is possible to just paint this huge target on your back by playing this game after game after game and still do quite well against very, very strong grandmaster opposition. But you do definitely provide a large target, because it's possible to prepare something very sharp for, I think, more than one game from the white side here. Like the central line here is this, which is what people were doing against him time and time again, this position. And now I think bishop b3 is some kind of a central move, or rook e1, bishop b3. There's a lot of stuff here. And other lines are also dangerous. Shevchenko versus Vityugov. Yeah, thank you, Nick. Yeah, this game I was talking about, that was against Kirill Shevchenko. Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure what are the ideas he is trying to compare and choose between in this position. Why not just rook e8? Knight b4. Huh. Yeah, maybe. This didn't even occur to me at all for some reason. But yeah, knight b4, they do play knight b4 in these types of positions.
But what's next? Like they're going c5 nevertheless, right?
And there was a really weird draw in the Grand Swiss between Vityugov and Shirov, which maybe even in this precise position went like this. Was it here? Can somebody check? I mean, probably I can check myself, but... unless things continue. Things appear to be not here. Okay, good, because I it was in something very similar, because the knight a2, knight c6, knight c3, and b4 repetition definitely did happen in that game, but not in this precise position then. Yeah, knight b4 maybe is a solid choice, because black very often just wants to play c5 and then things in the center just become much more stable. How do we reply to this with white? Is there any argument for d3, d4?
If I take?
Yeah, I wanted to take with the knight and claim that b5 is hanging, so you cannot play c5 yet. So you probably
cannot play c5 yet, and after bishop d7,
I don't know, maybe knight d5 works or something, and maybe I end up forcing you to take, and then I have some quote-unquote play against the backward pawn on c7. I don't know. d4, maybe you can actually be kind of ambitious here and play c5 and reply. Just giving up the pawn on e5 to play c5, c4. Might be quite decent, actually.
I don't think I can allow c5,
c5, c4 looks extremely dangerous here. But it's all somewhat theoretical now, because rook e8 has finally been played. It's just been played much slower than I expected.
Knight b4, I wasn't sure if I just do my thing, just go knight e2.
Like c5, c3,
knight,
I guess. Maybe knight g3 first.
Knight g3 at once.
Knight g3 first, yeah. I don't... Because I was going to suggest I might be interested in knight takes d3. In some positions, this makes some sense.
Yeah, but
I have to justify it, but there might be some justification. But yeah, there's no reason to even weaken the chain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, say, if you end up playing bishop e6, maybe I don't play c3 at all. Maybe I just go bishop d2 and, so some kingside stuff, if any.
Yeah. Absolutely. Something like this, yeah. And the issue is, the moment you kind of touch the knight on f3, knight d4 becomes a possible reply. But you can definitely deal with that on the white side. It's definitely a playable position. So yeah, rook e8 played, and now I think there's a bigger question for Jan, because I suspect knight e2, knight g3 is very slow, and knight d5 has its own issues. And people were saying after knight d5 we can take with the bishop, and then I assume in this position they were saying machine quite likes the plan of going knight h2 and then rook e3, g3, which is very much a plan, after my own heart. I really like those sudden attacks on the king side when they do happen. But black obviously will have something to say about it. I don't know, bishop g5 and then bishop b6. I'm not sure this is so bad. Nice.
Yeah, it's just that people keep discussing my looks, and I thought, yeah, maybe let's entertain them with modern technology.
Yeah, flower power
And stuff. Yeah. Well,
we are the
seriously
here.
Though, I was thinking of hiding myself a little bit, but I don't know how it's done on Skype. Yeah, so kind of switch the video off. No. Okay. No. Let's be serious. Let's be serious casters.
We are absolutely the serious casters here. The immediate knight h2 shouldn't be very good. You can play bishop e3, but once again, it's a kind of it's a bit of a nothing move. I don't know what it does after bishop f8. Like, what we have achieved is unclear. Maybe knight h2 now. But it seems kind of vague. But frankly, everything seems kind of vague here from white. I'm very curious what Jan has up his sleeve now, because so far he's been playing very quickly. So you kind of assume this is still prep. And I mean, if I was able to guess h6 rook e8 is very likely, they also, Team Nepo must have been able to figure out that Magnus does this in almost every position. So yeah, interested because I think the next move will show us maybe even quite clearly what Jan thinks is the best plan here for white.
Mm-hmm. There are 2 empty chairs, Peter. Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, that that is also something we have seen.
That's why, yeah.
We have seen quite a bit in this match. Yeah, people just retreating to their lounges. I'm guessing, that's the word to use. Ifo played 109 moves earlier today. Yeah, today they are very much into the
Ahead of their schedule.
premature efoculation. I watch too much Jorbs. I should stop with the stupid puns. But yeah, can't be helped. Let's go with the white Peter for a second. As we already mentioned, like 95 exists, 92 exists, bishop e3 exists. I don't really believe in knight h2 right now because I think 94, bishop a2, b4 followed by b3 might be quite strong. And seems like Jan has reappeared from his I will continue calling it a lounge, and played 95, which is, I mean, very clearly an obvious follow-up. To knight c3, and is there a narrow Peter? There was a narrow Peter somewhere around 2013, but that model has been retired. It's outdated and was not as popular as one hoped. Black could also just completely ignore this. I don't think we're obliged to take on d5. You sometimes play bishop e6 and just say, well, I don't think I need to do much. But maybe white plays c3 in reply, and then you get into a kind of a strange setup where taking on d5 is problematic because knight on c6 has no squares. But you sometimes solve the problem by playing bishop f8, and now black can definitely at least dream of taking on d5 and going knight e7. And the pawn on d5 might become weak. Mr. Kramnik probably not appearing on the stream today. He's taking a well-deserved break. He's gone above and beyond with his appearances on stream, but we can't really expect him to be here every day. He does have a life outside of this channel, which is not something very many of us can brag about.
Am I back?
Yes.
No?
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry.
There you
guys.
are.
Yeah, I still can't kind of set up things properly, but after yesterday's cast, somehow you look so small on my screen, and I mean, as well as rest of the things. So it's not only your fault. Let me try to do it this way, maybe. Okay, now you look too big, Peter. I don't even know
everything, society is much too polarized these days. Everything is, there is no safe middle ground. Everything is either too big or too small.
Yeah.
We need to come back to, the enlightened years of Peter being just the right size. But I don't know if those years are.
It's kind of, and nobody kind of caring about the size of other guys or whatever.
Yeah, I think
basically.
I think that those kinds of dream scenarios are unattainable in 2021. You just, it's a warm memory, but it's just a memory.
Is this a stream in Russian? Oh yeah,
there definitely is. And if you the Russian Levitov stream is only on YouTube, I believe, and you just Google Levitov Chess without the world on YouTube. They stream every day. They are much better than us in that they start drinking a lot earlier. which I'm pretty sure is a huge advantage. And I don't know why we aren't doing that.
I just questioned myself now. Yeah, like why on earth?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of know that, Ilya himself, is unlikely to mind, considering what kind of an example he himself shows daily. So, I mean, we can definitely just, start.
And it makes, I don't know if it improves on the quality of commentary, but it certainly makes it much more entertaining.
We maybe one day we should just try drinking from like move one and see, whether we can still remember how the pieces are called by like the fifth hour. Because they do drink sort of steadier than we do, but they also drink like girly stuff. As opposed to this stream, which doesn't make that mistake. So anyway, moving swiftly on. Bishop f8 hasn't been played yet. Nothing actually has been played after knight d5.
After knight d5. And okay, perhaps while I was checking irrelevant stuff, you've already enlightened people, but would you please tell me how bad is bishop e6 now? That's basically the move I'm trying everything.
This is what I was talking about.
I'm blundering the advantage of two bishops. I mean, you are free to take on e7.
I don't think I am ever taking on e7. I think this bishop needs to stay on the board. I mean, from White's perspective, I'd much rather take on f6 here than on e7.
So you're gonna go c3,
and then it goes to f8. Right? Yeah, and Magnus has done something similar.
That was the point. So I want to take with the bishop, go knight e7.
This is exactly what I was briefly showing while I was doing the white Peter Happy scene. Magnus does something similar, but not exactly like that. He just goes bishop f8 here. I'm guessing the idea is you can take on d5 straight away, and you can also take with the knight, which you wouldn't be able to do with the bishop on e6 at all. And then maybe after e5, he has, like, if White makes some kind, I don't know, let's name a waiting move. You take on d5, and you definitely at least consider going, hang on a second, this blunder is an exchange. This we probably don't do. Even though there is some compensation after knight d5 and knight f4.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, there's some compensation, but you probably don't do that. But if we talk about this like in purely structural terms,
I mean, I honestly wouldn't disqualify this line that quickly.
Yeah, and bishop a7 c5, as I now realize. Yeah,
c5. Yeah, we close it for now, and who knows? I mean, it kind of needs digging.
Yeah, it needs to be dug out, and in the meantime, like queen f6 g6, or even maybe rook e6 g6 is definitely something that black can try.
Yeah, who knows?
And with bishop e3 impossible for white. It's not that easy to get rid of that. Who will rid me of that troublesome knight or some such thing? But yeah, obviously this is getting slightly carried away. Even though bishop e3, I think, is a logical move in this position, and the entire line is not impossible.
So the bishop is already on f8.
Before in the final position, yeah, you can play before, but you're really not threatening much. Let's just play rook e6.
Yeah, so rook e6. Yeah. Well, it might as well be nothing, right?
Actually, after bc5, I might consider just playing rook g6 and saying this is made.
That's what you do. You just go. Yeah. Just go in.
And apparently Vishy is...
Why isn't it mate, by the way?
Well, in g3, there's no mate just yet. Yeah.
g3... Okay, now you take... I mean, you take h3... Oh, maybe you do
27 also looks kind of interesting, huh? If it's not mate, it will do a passable... It will be a passable impression of mate, at least, like knight h2, queen h3, queen f3, and I mean, game still continues, but this is obviously quite exciting for black, like, I don't know, h5, h4 here or something, or I mean, it could actually be quite good for black.
Yeah. Interesting, it's not like white was threatening much, so you could have taken on c5 now, because king h1, bishop g4 just win.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Yeah, just
the knight spin, and just finishes the game pretty much.
Yeah, so we have a pawn for the exchange here. We have decent structure, and there's still an attack going on the king side. Yeah, black could easily be better.
Beautiful knight on f4.
Yeah,
Which, if it's pushed away, can go to e6 and d4.
exactly. Yeah.
You know.
If we somehow fail in our first objective of just giving mate on the king side, we have positional compensation here. But obviously we're getting a little bit carried away here. This is not forced as such. We haven't really been doing recaps yet, and I suspect we...
Well, we might for an additional cost.
Yeah, because we charge so much. Like we currently don't even have a sub button, which is... I've been trying to figure out how to maybe acquire a sub button for this channel, but well, so far in vain. Yeah, I don't know. Bishop e3
Right,
definitely a move. C3 is also a move just to restrict the knight on c6. Sometimes, but I think for those plans you need to have the pawn already on c3, because sometimes they do this and then like knight h2 and rook e3 f3. But those ideas are much stronger when first of all when the bishop is on b7, so that there is never any bishop e6, at least not immediately, and also knight d4 of course is quite annoying. So I don't think this works in this particular case. Really wondering what are you even supposed to do here with white. Yeah, I really don't envy anyone who had to do a recap of yesterday's game. And, you know, we have some personal friends doing them, and I'm afraid to even ask. You know, how, for instance, Alejandro is faring after needing to record a recap of the 140 move game.
David Howell did a 3-minute recap.
Did he?
Okay, that's what people say.
I actually need to watch that.
Yeah, how about 30 seconds recap?
Yeah, they played a game. There were many moves, and eventually one of the white pawns queened. So Jan resigned. How did I do?
Brilliant.
I think I did well.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be recorded, kind of, yeah, shot on tape, and here you have a trailer for the longest game in a history of World Championship matches.
Yeah. Sometimes maybe you can make an argument for knight e3, but I don't like... Just allowing bishop e6 doesn't look right. And honestly, I'm not sure what we're supposed to do here. Maybe we just play. Maybe we just, I don't know. I like bishop e3 more than c3. And then we just go back to b3 and we pretend that we are... And let's just ignore the bishop a7 nonsense for a second and claim that we're slightly better here.
But can we now play bishop a7 though? Which seemingly still wins the...
Yeah, it still wins the same exchange. It might be stronger, actually, yeah, kind of curiously.
That's kind of rook b7, perhaps?
Yeah.
Bishop d5 and what? And now, in order to... No,
yeah, we have to play c5, yeah, but we are much slower here, because the knight is not on f4.
Yeah, you don't have the knight on f4, and also the bishop is sort of...
Yeah, the bishop actually needs to be on c8 for this attack. Yeah, this is very funny that this is actually faster than the immediate bishop a7, despite being 2 tempi slower. So we have to start with c5 here.
Yeah, we probably play c5, and then...
Yeah.
Is it like ever knight h4?
I was going to suggest exactly that. I think knight h4 is quite good here. Yeah. We want to play...
Knight c6, though, and you go queen h5.
Yeah, we go queen h5, bishop e6, I don't know, we take, we play...
You go bishop e6.
Yeah, I think I go like c3 here probably, and I try to get maybe rook a6.
I mean, it probably fails tactically, but is there a chance black could have tried c4?
Instead of bishop e6.
Instead of bishop e6.
Takes, and then what, g6? Or?
c4, knight a5, but then you'll be happy
I'm going,
to
yeah, I'm going rook a5 probably in a heartbeat, yeah.
You take on a5.
But actually, I mean, e1 is hanging, so...
e1 is a little bit hanging, though.
e1 is hanging, so I'm not sure. Who is that?
Because if you don't...
How about this move?
Take on b5, I'm more
How about
happy,
this move?
Right?
I wanna, beat my chest a little bit here, but... What do we think about this?
We are impressed by your tactical capabilities.
Yeah, with the point of queen b6, c5, and now f7 is hanging, and I will play bishop rook takes a5 here. Although,
And
yeah,
pawn
even this
takes
position.
and materials
Yeah.
equal, and I'm threatening c4.
Yeah.
Bishop d5, and then
Game
then I
continues, yeah. Who
accept
knows what this is, yeah.
worse, yeah. And probably worse.
Who knows what this is, yeah. And I could have also included c takes d6, maybe. But obviously I can probably actually afford to do this and then take on a5 next move. And I'm slightly better. But all of this is obviously completely irrelevant and not going to happen. Up until this moment might still happen, but everything else I think we've freestyled a little bit too much. I don't know Mieras. I have no inside information on that. And what they answered during the press conferences, I'm sure you can find yourself.
Can you reveal any members from Magnus and Nepo?
Yeah, that's what I was answering, yeah. I have no idea. I mean, I have some idea, but I have exactly the same idea
I do have
that everybody else does. So
let's mention those. So Potkin, obviously, on Jan's
yeah,
team.
Potkin I think is actually in Dubai and has been seen in Dubai, I assume, right? PH is also there. We've seen pictures. And that's Peter Heine Nielsen for those who, for some reason, don't know who PH is, which is like a criminal offense. Not knowing PH is just
PHN, not to be confused with PhD, right?
Well, in some households.
I mean, he does look like
A Scandinavian professor of something,
I would have given him a PhD easily.
Yeah. And you can make educated guesses, and people are making educated guesses in chat, but those haven't really been confirmed.
Magnus also has his fluffers as Mr. Doji, who apparently isn't on anybody's team.
Doji,
and I regret that.
Doji being on somebody's official team would have been epic. The level of
not only that, but it would certainly, jokes aside, I think it would help.
Yeah.
I mean, to just have someone sane around you. I mean, obviously after all the
Doji says,
preparing.
God knows I tried. Yeah. God knows I tried, says Doji. I feel like he probably isn't even lying, yeah. But yeah.
Certainly boost the prestige of this team. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Lol, Doji as the sane one in the room. Why is that a lol? That is how I view almost any room I can imagine with Doji in it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to my eyes, this is exactly how things are in the world. I don't know why you're lolling at it. I've had one whiskey, El Papa Grande. If I start getting hangovers from having a dram, I really need to retire this whole drinking shtick.
It's like, the hard life of a man in his middle-age crisis shouldn't be underestimated, but also shouldn't be,
shouldn't be overstated either.
To an extreme. I mean, it's not all that bad.
Yeah. Doesn't Hikaru's second only have like a 2100 rating, but is a computer whiz? I think Chris is stronger than 2100. But he is not, a star in his own right. But I mean, they have a very good working relationship, and anything that works for you is just like nobody needs to second guess people's choices in terms of seconds. Hikaru knows best what works for him, and he and Chris have been, from what I can tell, friends and colleagues for a long time now, and good on them.
By the way, I mean, once again, not chess related, but if there is anything that, makes me upset about the Twitch chat is the way they continue misspelling whiskey all the time. Like using excessive letters in this, kind of simple word.
Yeah, stop with the Irishisms, people. It annoys Miro, and we don't want to annoy Miro any further. He's already annoyed.
I am pretty damn annoyed.
Yeah. Spelling whiskey even isn't hard. Yeah, we have. Yeah, this is now the
proper.
I wanted to say that much as I genuinely love having Kramnik on stream because the wealth of his knowledge about chess is unbelievable, and I've known him since I was a very very small child, but it never ceases to amaze me just how well he understands the game. But without him on call, I can finally kind of let my hair down and just start reading out every single shitpost in chat and just enjoy myself and
Wait, what? So we don't take with the pawn?
We don't. Yeah, we don't take with the pawn. No.
Yeah, Queen f6. Okay, you guessed it right. Seriously though, what is all about now?
Everyone talks about whiskey, but few ask about houseky. Yeah, exactly. That's I really like that format. Yeah.
What's Miro's favorite scotch? Hard to say. Used to be in all the Isla stuff. Like a few years back, I would name you Lafroig PX cask, for instance. And nowadays, it's shifted towards different regions. So there is no such thing as favorite. The next one, yes, people say.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as that, but yeah, pretty much. Lagavulin worth mentioning, of course, yeah.
I'm sticking with my Aberlour answer for now. I really like those Aberlours.
The one I had an honor to share with you. Yeah, that was
Aberlours are good.
That was it.
Jan just took on f6 and played c3. And yes, you can make an argument that the queen is a little bit misplaced on f6, but you get the feeling this isn't very much. Bishop e6 is playable.
Bishop e6, yeah.
You can maybe even play the immediate before, but I kind of don't like allowing bishop a4, bishop d7 unprovoked. Bishop e6, my question is, does white allow the capture on b3, or do we maybe play something like rook a6 and claim that forcing the knight to kind of slightly uncomfortable squares is an achievement?
So like if I take and go, well, where do I go then?
Knight d7, g6.
I want to say d8.
You like d8, yeah. Or that way, yeah. That way as well. The question is, if I push d4 here, have I achieved anything at all?
Yeah. It's exactly my question, because it's optically black has a really uncomfy position, right?
Maybe it's just true.
How long can you?
Maybe it's just true.
How long can you maintain it? Yeah.
The rook on a6 in particular is extremely annoying in many of these positions when the queen side hasn't disappeared yet. You do have some options like b5, b4 here, maybe.
It's a little bit meh, so I would prefer something.
Yeah, so let's take a look at other options.
More harmonious then.
Let's take a look at other options. We are currently here. This is definitely an option, but surely it's not the only one.
Bishop e6, as Jacqueline says, well, you get the exchange the bishop achievement, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I guess, right. All right. So what do we want? We want a precise move. What would be a precise move here? Move the knight first, kind of being quote-unquote smart.
Yeah, I was wondering about something like this.
But you can play rook a7 then. And
knight e7.
Both choices kind of yucky, right? I mean, rook b7, I have a rook on b7, bishop b7, I have a bishop on b7.
Can't we just play c5? And say that this is kind of going according to plan, because now we can pretty much always meet d4 with c4 maybe and just cut down.
It's a little spooky, but
yeah.
But if I can't do anything,
but now I will play bishop e6 next move, and
your next move is bishop e6, right? Yeah. Okay, people suggest knight h2, rook e3, but it doesn't look like.
I don't think it's fast enough. Yeah, it's I mentioned this plan and it's very solid, but I just think that in a position like
here, you can already go knight
c6 or even rook a8 maybe makes some sense. Or knight c6 is also decent.
I mean, just to have a chance to run away to d8 with the queen if some. So
rook f3 might be annoying though potentially. Like queen g6.
You mean
I have
like
I have some kind of takes on f7 ideas now. Maybe
Yeah.
start with
Yeah,
taking on a6.
That's fair.
So maybe we go. I don't know about rook b7 though. But
Hang on a second,
Go
Peter.
on.
Don't you try to trick me a little. So knight c6, you
Mhm.
said. Rook f3. How about bishop takes b3 and queen takes f3 thing? Because I liked the last game I had two rooks against the queen.
yeah, I don't think I think white is fine here, but yeah, it's a solid option.
Yeah, white is fine, but so is black, it seems, right?
Because it will be difficult to.
Not like you're attacking f7.
Yeah, like
I'm
I
assuming.
probably
That's
do play
the
knight
only
h4,
weakness.
knight f5, like knight e3, and
Yeah, but it's not like I'm terribly scared, right?
not yeah.
I mean, like everything is solid after all. I can return my pieces. I can play rook e6, knight e7, whatever.
Yeah, it's not easy to do anything concrete. But yeah, both knight e7 and like knight d8 also exist, but they all look kind of inconcrete. I actually quite like this very early knight takes f6 because it feels like black would much rather have this queen on d8 in most lines. It's kind of slightly in the way on f6. It allows for those, maybe somewhere in the future it allows for those rook lifts. Dealing with the rook on a6 becomes more annoying because, like, in particular, let's say in this position, you would be quite happily playing queen d8, d7 here if the queen was on d8. Not having that option makes you have to play something weird. I mean, not weird, but slightly uncomfortable, such as knight d8 and knight d7.
Yeah. People suggesting b4, but bishop a4
Yeah,
what was kind of annoying.
maybe it's
us,
still
right?
fine though. Maybe we can just go b4, bishop a4, bishop d7, and say that.
Just go bishop d7 and kind of pretend it's not a pin, really.
I mean, it's difficult to put any kind of additional pressure on this setup.
Also, stream in 4K when?
I think that actually is.
What's happening on Russian channel, right?
That and
I
yeah,
think that they do have, apart from other options on YouTube, they do have 4K for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know why would you care to stream chess in 4K unless your name is Alexandra, you know.
Yeah, that's the one I was referring to, Fake Fisher, and it is extremely good.
Some educated people in the chat saying early batches were whatever they were, cool, but they're mentioning the same Bunat, whatever it's pronounced.
Yeah. Magnus is also clearly not entirely sure on where to go in this position. And this kind of repeats the pattern from games 3 and 5, right? Because it doesn't look much, but it also doesn't look like black entirely equalized. And the suspicion is Jan will have some pressure, and Magnus will have to solve some problems. But eventually, when the margins are so small, you have to be extremely precise for a very, very long time with white, or your advantage starts to dissipate. Is there any point in, let's say, playing something like bishop d7 with the idea being of playing rook a8 next move? And I have prepared for rook a6, so I'm making a waiting move here with the intention of playing rook a8 and offering some more trades, at least starting to fight for the a file.
So to start, well, it's kind of non-move.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, not really a non-move, but strange move. But yeah, maybe it kind of adds up.
I don't know what I think about the positions after d5, but I suspect that there's a bishop on d7. Black shouldn't be too unhappy about those. And looks like I'm not actually losing any material in these lines, because I will have to take, because of the pin, I will have to take...
You'll have to take with the knight and
the queen, but I'm not actually losing any material to queen d5 tricks, because I control the d5.
f4? You have.
I'll go somewhere.
You'll protect f7. Yeah.
Yeah, it's either queen f6 or queen e8. I think probably. I mean, e5 will happen though. Maybe it's not that bad for it. But maybe I can do something like this and just put it on g6 and claim now that I have my own proactive ideas.
I would be a little bit worried here.
Absolutely, yeah, but
with some sort of like queen f3, e6, f5 ideas, but probably doesn't work, right? Rook e8.
Yeah, I do want to play it. But still?
Bishop?
Yes.
F5, yeah. So maybe Rook e8 was actually a bad
yeah, it may.
Now that I'm thinking, because I kind of self-pinned myself. Yeah. So queen f3, something.
Is this a move? I can't calculate, but maybe this is a move. With the idea of playing bishop c6.
Rook up?
Well.
Because of that, okay. And if I use a little tactic of disruption by going f5 first after you take, okay, you'll find something. I mean, there are checks,
I can play queen
right?
c6. Queen 6, bishop d5. Yeah. Maybe I'm losing here then because.
The point being kind of deflecting one of the guys from c6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
whatever I take on f5, then queen takes 8 will win the rook. But yeah, I have a lot of checks. But
queen a6, yeah, you can play queen a6,
but I don't know
and you are holding.
Yeah, I don't know how happy I am about this position.
Not quite
even
trustworthy.
f6
this one.
Just continue pushing. I might end up getting mated in a position like this, being distracted by having to keep an eye on the rook on a8. But obviously, like this is now, let me check, but this is move 24, and we are currently in the game at move 15. We clearly are way, way, way ahead of the card here. Yeah, I mean, bishop d7 exists, but it's not a move I will make happily. Let's put it like this. It's a possible move, but I don't know if it's my absolute best choice here. Every one of those moves were absolutely forced, as books are nice. Absolutely forced. Yeah, the entire thing is now destined to happen on the board.
Yeah. Unless they find other moves.
Yes.
Which is possible.
We don't, like, at least I don't have any kind of access to the official cameras, Mira, so I don't know about Miro's freshness. I'm sure other people can report.
What freshness? My freshness?
No, yours I can see and admire at extreme close-up range. Yes, but people were asking about Nepo.
Nepo, yeah. It's just that you said Miro's freshness, and I'm immediately like, what?
Yeah.
Am I not looking fresh enough? Which I do, which I know I don't, but but still.
Neil is reporting that he's doing the can-can while riding a unicycle, which sounds pretty fresh to me. Yeah. Yeah, and Miro definitely has a portrait somewhere in the attic, which must by this point look quite scary. Talking about people looking fresh as something. I wouldn't want to look at that portrait.
Stockfish gives 97 at the first choice.
Yeah, I mean that move definitely exists. Yeah, we mentioned it. You kind of don't entirely like allowing Rook
A7. Yeah, that's what we were somewhat unhappy with.
I mean, it's not going to win the game or anything. It's just a bit annoying to be allowing Rook A7 and then choosing between like C5 has its drawbacks, Rook B7 has drawbacks, Bishop B7 definitely has drawbacks.
Maybe Rook B7 strangely.
Yeah.
It's like I was not very happy with Rook A8, but okay. I mean, Bishop D7 at the very least, and maybe even some tricks. Yeah, probably Bishop D7.
Bishop D7. Now I want to try taking and going D4, but yeah.
Claiming my rook is kind of misplaced.
But it's not really. Like I don't see how to use it. It's actually kind of fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm still preferring white here because of
C6, yeah.
You know, the structure is slightly more active, but
Or why do I? Maybe I do the Kramnik thing. I mean, consider what's called
throwing pieces at
consider the Caro and go for the Sicilian. Can I go C5? You'll have Bishop D5.
Yeah, we probably take
maybe Bishop D5 precisely here because to avoid Bishop C6 because here I have Bishop C6.
Start with this.
So you start with this, you capture, and I'm seriously annoyed by that.
This is probably not that much fun. Yeah. And if you don't play Rook A7, I might consider actually playing Queen A1 and claiming I also have the file now. Has it been freezing in Russia? Well, there's been like 20 centimeters of snow.
No, it's not. You just don't go outside.
Yeah, that also is a...
I mean, it's very easy. The Russian winter is very easy to deal with.
You just never leave the...
the household. No, you just stay indoors.
As the poet said, never leave your room, don't make that mistake. Or I'm sure that it has been translated into English, I just don't know what the translation says. But there's a very famous poem which starts with this advice. And it's very solid advice when the Russian winter comes. Which side do you prefer here? We will be preferring white for a while yet. I don't think black entirely equalizes for a while yet. But like the
before he gets in an issue, like in our lines when we were sacrificing an exchange, like getting the knight on a4. So, strangely, it's very hard to completely equalize this position, even though to some people, it's a lot of draws, and to some people it looks completely equal. Game 3, game 5, was it really an equal position at the end? No, it's like white still. I mean, even the funny fortress that they've agreed to draw, right? I mean, the one with h6, f6, and so on. Still, I mean, if you are forced to pick the side, you pick white. Is white better? We don't know. What side we prefer? It's white.
Yeah, I mean, at some point this might change, but I think black will have to play a slightly worse position, just sort of hoping that pieces coming off or the structure gradually improving, in particular if he gets to play c7, c5 somewhere, maybe all of those things eventually will combine to give him equality. But black definitely isn't fully equal just yet, at least not from a human perspective.
White is clearly slightly better, and people figured out it was a Brodsky board, which I'm very happy with.
And Nick has actually provided a translation, which I assume he found somewhere. That does look like a proper translation, and Steve Giddens clearly is a man of culture as well. Very impressive. Where would you transfer the knight to prepare c5? It's either knight d8 e6 or knight e7 g6, and normally it's knight e7 g6. I would say. I think knight d8 is a rarer choice of the two. I think, and Magnus in particular, I think very much likes getting this knight to g6. Although with this pair of knights already traded off, maybe there is more point to getting it to the e6 square because it fights for the center better that way. What happens after bishop e6? We think rook a6 is annoying.
Yeah, that's what we've started with, right? I mean, rook a6, and then I was attempting to take on b3 to kind of do the simplistic thing, which maybe is wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be capturing b3 just yet. You could. But bishop b3, let's just show this line once again. Bishop b3, queen b3, knight...
Let's say e7, I guess.
E7 probably should be preferred over d8.
I actually quite like yours, so like d4, knight e6, bishop e3.
Knight e6, and we said bishop e3, and somehow it's not clear what move.
Maybe you can play c5.
It doesn't look desperate
Maybe
yet,
you can play c5.
right? It doesn't look desperate yet.
Because I think, like, I was worried about this, but I think you can actually play knight c7 here, somewhat weirdly. Because this works out for black, or at least somewhat works out.
Yeah, but wait, but are you sure that's the only option? Because Me as a d4 player, I would be a bit concerned about white going d5. It's kind of blocking the center.
Yeah, with the A file, yeah, that as well
Because
is kind of.
you don't have enough minor pieces to generate something substantial on the king
Yeah,
side.
that's a fair point. Yeah.
And rook to c6 as the reply to knight c7 is kind of annoying.
This is kind of. You might be okay long term, but you're not going to be enjoying it in the process. Yeah.
Unless you lose the now I realize unless you lose the c5 pawn immediately, you probably have to go knight f4.
Yeah.
And then God knows, I mean, capture on f4 is one thing.
Yeah,
by the
I mean,
way.
we can definitely just consider doing this.
You have to take with the queen, and we just somehow play this position.
Let's not blunder the central pawn. Yeah.
And not really rook one, but
Yeah,
queen
queen
c2 first.
C2
Maybe
and-
queen done its job on b3. Yeah, queen c2, take the file.
One, and yeah, it's going to be. I mean, not unmanageable because so many pieces have been traded, but you definitely prefer this with white with the sort of full control over the A file for now. But once again, we're getting a little bit carried away. Somebody who clearly is a romantic at heart asked us if we think g5 with the idea of queen g6 and h5 has any merit. I can't draw arrows again today. I think this is a little bit too much. I don't think the center is stable enough for black to be trying things like that. And even after you have played queen g6, you still cannot really play h5 because the g5 pawn will be hanging. So you're a number of tempi away from actually creating your first threat here. And
Just a little bit too ambitious.
Rapport style g5. Yeah, I mean, the center is sort of stable enough for me to continue talking about this move, but I have a feeling it's not happening. Yeah, I would be kind of, yeah, I don't know what even to suggest as an adjective there to describe my surprise if this actually ended up happening. And Magnus, after a long thing, goes
Okay,
knight
97's played, yeah.
The move took him 20 minutes, which is, I mean, was significant.
So what do we do?
Time investment.
We were expecting rook a7, but one might as well start with d4 now.
Yeah, you can go
right?
to
or d4 c5.
d4 c5 might be an improvement. Yeah.
You're on time to play c4,
Yeah.
right? To kind of shut down bishop.
Where is Kramnik? Kramnik is living his best life. I'm sure. And that's what we wish him as well. Yeah, d4 c5 seems like it's an improvement over the rook a7 lines because the bishop will be shut down very quickly. It never gets to d5. And not joking this time, white can actually play g4 with sincerity here. Huh. Curious. I can see the point though, yeah. Because in particular, like here, black cannot even take because this is a kind of a funny position where the queen on f6 just gets lost.
But bishop e6 after g4.
Yeah, you assume.
Is it all that bad?
Yeah, you assume it's bishop e6, but yeah, and you also, yeah, I would be shocked if Jan actually did this. It doesn't feel like we've prepared enough for this to be very strong. Bishop 6 king g2, yeah. I mean, these days I'm not that shocked that this is the suggestion, but also, like, you look at this position and you think, why?
But why
have I done
there's
this?
still this silly.
I think I can take on b3.
You have a
I
check.
can take on
No,
b3
you have a
either
check.
here. Probably I'm actually doing it next move, and then we go queen e6, something like this.
Yeah, you had the
Yeah, I
check.
had the check as well. Yeah, I had a number of options. I mean, it's playable, and I also assume that it's at least somewhat endorsed by the machine, but it's a kind of an all-in move that I don't really expect from Jan just yet. And yeah, what Cohesion is saying that, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a statement of intent, but also a statement of, I mean, I kind of hate ascribing so much to just one decision, but it would be pretty much Nepo agreeing with what Miro was saying before the game even started. like if I don't win today, I really have lost the match kind of move. And I don't know if Jan himself subscribes to that opinion.
All right, yeah. So the idea itself is obviously not unheard of, this G4 thing, but perhaps not
Maybe
here.
not here, yeah. In particular, if the follow-up is just to play King G2 after Bishop B6 and claim that, we've gained space on the king side or something, it just feels a bit weird.
Okay, I mean, if you want G4, let's organize G4. Let's go Rook A7, trade on B7, strangely, and then go G4. At least it makes kind of a little bit more sense, because now...
This one I can get behind, actually.
There's no Bishop E6 for now.
Yeah, we've stopped this from happening, and knight G6, G5, the queen will have to go back. And then maybe we can make an argument for something like this, definitely. Because if you play Bishop C8, Bishop E6, I can perhaps play, not immediately, but I can take and go knight.
You can trade, go knight H4, land the knight on F5. It actually starts.
It starts to look very promising. Yeah, it starts to look very, very promising. So yeah, if we want to get this idea to work, I very much like beginning with Rook A7 first and asking Black to make a move. I suspect the move is C5 though. I really do suspect the move is C5 and not. But maybe we can go G4 here anyway, weirdly, because you cannot play knight G6 if 7 is hanging. Misha is saying, I don't know exactly what the schedule is, but I think he'd wait until one of his 2 out of 3 white game blocks to take some more risks. That would be games 11, 12, and 13, I guess. And that's, I mean, yes, but also it's leaving it a little bit late. But, I mean, if the score is still -1 by the time next Friday rolls on, the 2 white games Jan will have in that block will be very interesting to watch, because, yeah, he will have to make some changes, probably.
Because King's Gambit.
Yeah, probably not King's Gambit, even though, like, he would, gain so many more fans. He's already quite a popular player, but if he actually just rocked up to the board and went E4, E5, F4 and kind of smirked a little, that would have been quite something. What do you think about this? I thought I would find something very good immediately, but I mean, there's the one thing that concerns me is this idea. Trying to use the fact that the knight on F3 is hanging, so you cannot go CB.
We go smart.
Yeah, we definitely go smart, but...
I mean, Queen G6, Knight H4 is extremely awkward.
I wanted to take. SM work. Knight G5, I guess, yeah.
And yeah, like Bishop G5, Queen G6, the line ends.
Yeah, I don't like it very much, because you don't have an immediate, like, useful follow-up. F6 is now a threat, BC4 is a threat, and...
I mean,
maybe CB5 exists, yeah.
CB5. Kind of the follow-up.
But I don't really... I mean, even something... no, there's Bishop A4. As Vladimir was complaining yesterday, chess would be such a wonderful game if you could just, like, make moves and not ever have to calculate anything.
Not calculate.
But unfortunately, the position is forcing us to calculate.
There is this annoying part where...
The position is forcing us to calculate, and I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the annoying part when they call your BS and actually take everything you sacrifice, and it turns out to be nothing.
Yeah. Why are you...
I mean, you could have captured on B3 still, right?
And what's the move? Yeah, I was kind of looking for a move. That was weird. Whoops.
Like, nah.
If you have to spend a tempo on, like, King H8 or something, I'm pretty sure White will be able to...
No, I thought D5, but that's...
Yeah, things are... Yeah.
I'm running out of ammo. I think, I mean, I'll maybe win a piece and resign immediately after.
Yeah. Zoram says, Kramnik...
First part seems to be
Zoram says, Kramnik always says that after he has already calculated all of Peter's lines, you are not wrong. You are not wrong at all. Yeah, like, Generally, his complaints about being incapable of calculating, they happen immediately after he has shown.
Really spot on. So the thing we've described when you just make moves and don't calculate anything is called Hearthstone Battlegrounds. And that's a wonderful game.
It is a good game. It is a good game. Now that Diablo is gone in particular. And I want to claim my small part in removing Diablo from the meta. Because I was pushing the hashtag when...
I wish I knew what Peter is talking about, as I believe 90% of the chat thinks the same.
When has that ever stopped me from saying shit? 97. And Jan is still thinking, which is, do we actually get something crazy today, maybe? Is there a chance Jan spends some time in the tank here and then just goes for something reasonably all in? Mm-hmm. G4 is always the answer, says Pi.
Yeah, but honestly, the more I look at it, the more I like Rook A7. Yeah, people say, hang on. Bishop E3 was also one of our guesses, remember? Bishop E3 so that the knight cannot immediately go to G6 because Bishop A7.
Yeah, I don't think
because
it was
somebody in the chat mentioned that Bishop E3 kind of tends to be preferred by Leela.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing C5. I'm guessing
bell.
C5, and if I had to state an opinion, I would say that C5 is more useful than Bishop E3, and Rook A7 is more useful than Bishop E3. So if we're forcing C5, why are we not forcing it with Rook A7?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very that's what Jan played, so it's a good move, and machines like it and everything. But curious why he chose this over Rook A7. And yes, we do have the threat of playing Bishop, like Knight G6 probably loses an exchange here, which means that Bishop E3 might be like legitimately semi-forcing Black to play C5. But I don't think Black is unhappy to be forced to play C5 here. After C5 you go Knight D2 Queen F3 and you're better. This is actually quite cool. I like this approach. It's a kind of a very minimalistic approach, but in particular I think I'm sort of one tempo short though, because I wanted to play something like takes and Queen G4. But my issue is, apart from the fact that F5 exists, even if Black trades, my Rook is not on A6, so Black will get to play Rook A8 in this position and start fighting for the single open file. And this might not be all that much, so... Knight D2, Bishop E6, what am I missing? We can start with Rook A6, I guess. Hit the pawn on D6.
Mm-hmm.
Why not D4, Bishop E6, D5? I think D4 will be instantly met by C4 in this position.
It's kind of insta C4.
Yeah, let's just lock it out, and then after Bishop C2, I don't know, Knight G6, it already feels like it's a lot easier to breathe for Black, because we have solved the issue of the light square Bishop on B3.
You know what? Is it ever like Bishop A2 telegraphing B3? I mean, I know it looks weird, but like if I can't, I probably won't be able to, right? Such an ugly...
I kind of like it, actually. It's just it asks the question. Can Black play...
I mean, one thing you can do, you can go Queen G6, Knight H4, Queen F6, and look at your opponent, kind of. I mean, go C4, Bishop A2, Queen G6. Wait a second. Knight H4, you might as well...
We might even take on E4. Yeah, Queen G6 is an interesting move, hitting everything, yeah. Also, I was briefly looking at an option for... But I think in particular because of the match score, this is just completely impossible to play like this. Might also be bad, because after E5 I don't have a good square. If Black could play Bishop F5 here, like if the Queen was already on B6 and it was Black to move and Black plays Bishop F5 here, I suspect Black might even be better because of the pawn majority on the Queen side. But with White to move, White goes Knight H4 and maybe kind of gives a mate soon with like queen h5, and then the f-pawn starts running, and it's very, very important that white avoids trading the bishops on the bishop c2 is the most important piece in this position in terms of creating an attack on the king's side.
No, this looks like a check.
Yeah, this doesn't look like something Magnus will ever do, considering that he doesn't really need to push the issue with the black pieces at all today. Knight g2. Okay, so knight g2 is what people were suggesting before. We're looking at d4. I kind of like knight g2 more. And I want to shout out, just in general, the idea of playing queen f3 next move. Like, if black plays knight g6, we can play queen f3. Queen e7 looks kind of ugly, so black takes. Let's say bishop e6, we take, and we go rook a6 or rook a7. I think this is a very unpleasant endgame. And it's going to stay unpleasant for quite some time.
Interesting to know, because I wouldn't think so.
You think it's fine? I think you just...
No, I don't think anything. It's just that, I mean, this whole concept is kind of new to me.
But I mean, without the file, you're just going to be like I don't think you ever even get to trade one pair of rooks.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to capture on e6 with the pawn finally. I know you hate such structures,
but even this,
maybe with some
rook a6, rook a8, rook a1. This is also, I think, very, very unpleasant for black.
Maybe b4 first. Maybe b4 first. Because knight d2.
It gets quite annoying. Yeah, it gets quite annoying because this is a poor bishop and
also the knight.
Yeah, and the rook on a6.
Like, I've spent some time. Yeah, I mean it gets quite annoying unless knight h8, knight f7 is a fortress, and Magnus will play it immediately and say, and then g5, all the anti-positional stuff, and then say, okay, you're not getting any.
Yeah, so we just go for this position and we claim, just as we did in game 3.
Yeah, no
5,
weaknesses,
five,
dude. I mean,
that one weakness is not enough.
Yeah, I mean, particularly after knight c4, I can take, go rook b3, start having some... Might not be all that bad, strangely enough.
A kind of an interesting suggestion. I mean, it's never going to happen, but as a kind of a thought experiment, could chess become more interesting if they did not permit players to have seconds and internet during the World Chess Championship? I'm sure with that law, draws will be less frequent. Probably, yeah. Probably, but obviously nobody is ever going to agree to this in 2021 or, current year, whatever the current year is.
This no internet thing would make humanity happier, I have to say, overall. So it's not only about chess tournaments.
And we obviously are saying all those things. At least I know that, like, I'm an absolutely horrible internet junkie, and I really struggle if I find myself in situations where I'm not plugged in. And these days, even if the connection is not stable enough, like you get unbelievably tilted by poor connections now.
Yeah, you're right, Peter. You're right. I mean, I have no dependency on the internet connection, whatsoever, apart from those 16 hours a day that I've spent online. I mean, all the rest, all the free time, I don't really need one.
And Magnus just goes bishop b6, doesn't even play c5. It also solves, obviously, the issue of all of the bishop a7 shenanigans. And I think this is yet another argument for having started with rook a7. We can still do it, but it feels like maybe we did not really need the move bishop b3. Is bishop c2 a move? I don't think you are. It's not even that we like the trading, the bishop trade so much. It's just that spending a tempo and going backwards in a position like this is going to make black kind of happy. Knight g6 or c5 or rook a8 or any kind of a combination of those moves, like something like this, I think is quite sensible. I don't think if we are already fighting for the A file, I don't think we should be worried about d4, d5 here.
Can't stop laughing at this.
Yeah, the
eagle
eagle shark thing is good.
That's
yeah,
absolutely
the
brilliant.
eagle shark thing is very good, and I also saw a reference because apparently there is a very serious shark infestation along the entire east coast of the States and also of Mexico. So I've seen some pictures on the internet of like huge warning signs because there are sharks everywhere, like from as high up north as, I don't know, New York and Baltimore and so on, and going south towards Mexico. And there was a link to the old skit about the land shark, which I hadn't seen until yesterday and which I very much enjoyed. What are we going to discuss? Okay, we're not discussing that. Yeah, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Why would you ever, have anything to do with that idea? Back to the position at hand. Don't like bishop c2. I still feel like rook a7 probably is happening, but we've given black more leeway. Even rook e8 is playable, but I would play c5 anyway. And I would be quite happy that my bishop is already on a6 here. And yeah, Jan chooses the immediate d4.
And how do we deal with the immediate d4, by the way?
Yeah, without the a file, like this position I'm kind of worried about. I wouldn't really want to be playing this position. Even though, nothing tragic has happened yet. Maybe you can, but I probably would prefer not to.
How do you get the rook? This rook on a7 will annoy you till the rest of the game.
Can I actually spend a tempo on rook a8 here and sort of
that's a question.
Leave to tell the tale?
What do I do?
Not sure.
Kind of take on someone empty, right? Like taking everything, like e5, e6.
Should be fine then, right? Like if you start simplifying to this degree, I will just play like c6, knight g6, and claim I'm not even remotely worse.
No problem whatsoever. Yeah, rook a8 might be a very, very clever insertion.
Yeah. And yeah, Chilean says, I hope Magnus makes a boat. This is not a boat, this is a bathtub. Please use correct terminology. If you play c6, this is a bathtub. Inverted bathtub. Well, it's not inverted for Magnus.
Isn't it like always inverted?
No, normally, like, this is a bathtub. And it's, well, depending on how you view these things, yeah. Either all of them are inverted or none of them are inverted, or I am just somewhat perverted and I invent things. There are many versions here. But I like starting with rook a8. I think we probably are not very worried about d5, bishop d7. We can play c6 next. Or queen g6 and f5 is also a plan here. But, the immediate c6 has the advantage of not allowing d5 at all, but I would be a bit annoyed about allowing rook a6 or rook a7. Unless we can just go rook a8 then, and just comfortably trade it off.
Trade it off comfortably. Rook.
Yeah, you can go rook b7, but even if I have to kind of temporarily give up on the a file by trading on a different square.
No, but then I trade go queen
b8 is a bad square.
I didn't like.
Yeah.
I was hoping for
that.
b8
is a bad square. Yeah,
b6.
This is a good point.
Yeah, it's just that rook on b7 is not very stable.
Yeah, we can just go.
Or maybe
then d5 maybe. Yeah, we have to.
Then d5 take with a piece.
We have to be precise here. We have to be precise. Yeah, this is actually kind of much more annoying than I originally assumed.
You could probably take on b3 and then go rook b8, given the fact that you're probably forcing the rook trade. right? Like take on b3, which is something I don't want to do.
Yeah, but this is kind of different because white actually gets to
Yeah.
occupy the file quite comfortably. And once again, black is not lost or anything like that, but this is not fun. Engine hates bishop e6 by Magnus. White is close to 0.70, and we welcome our early bird special engine enjoyers in the chat. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought this is so bad because like my current thinking is rook a8 is solid, but I'm probably just missing something. Maybe d5 is much stronger than I give it credit for. Because otherwise, like if I play rook 8 and then I play c6 and then I start trading, or just playing knight g6, I don't see why that would be so horrible.
Lorinda, stop providing computer evaluations. I mean, you're ruining the show.
Hey, Neil.
I mean,
yeah,
well
Neil,
played.
Neil is...
The engine tends to prefer queen g5 over
Yeah,
queen h4
yeah.
for black. Yeah, that much we know.
Yeah, I think the more I look at this, the more
So it's a really
the
rook
more I
a8
like rook
looks
a8.
logical.
Yeah, I don't
than
like continuing to offer white chances to like completely dominate the one open file on the board. And yeah, I got the point that the assessment was given from an engine which may not be entirely trustworthy. Thanks, guys.
Which might not be an
Or
engine.
might not even be an engine, yeah. It might just be somebody who likes contributing to chat by providing numerical assessments of something. Whatever that something is. I wonder what Magnus's issue with the move rook a8 is, because he, it's one of...
He's got the time,
Yeah.
maybe? Maybe that's the reason he's thinking. He's got the time and he's got the ability to think.
Yeah, I will...
Which is a powerful
Yeah,
combo.
I will try to get the clocks to actually reflect reality for a second there and give me...
It's not necessarily correct.
Give me a
because
moment, guys. I'll...
So it's a little bit different. Okay.
This is better. Magic. I couldn't get the boards to, reappear on exactly the same spot because I have, arms growing out of...
You have
Yeah,
skills.
but they are not the skills required, unfortunately. I definitely have some skills, but they are not those skills. Except rook 8, what about ed cd knight g6? First of all, I'm not 100% sure we recapture with the pawn, but yeah, let's look at this position. Include the bishop d3 trade. Which order though, Nick?
I
assume you want to do it like this way, yeah, an attack.
For
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's possible, but I would be... Like, if this doesn't work out tactically and white gets to play, I don't know, d5, knight d4, you might just be completely busted strategically.
Tactically, you have to play c5
Yeah, you have to play
now.
c5
It's like
or...
C5
yeah,
or
I guess
knight.
you just play c5
Pretty
straight
much.
away, yeah. And I don't actually have a good way to prevent c5 from happening.
Protect.
Yeah, like d5, rook e4
e4.
is never enough. Like it's a very, very healthy central pawn. And black just plays c5 against pretty much anything else, I assume. Might be playable, so which is a move order? So we can do it this move order. We can do it this move order, which might be stricter. Oh no, I mean I'm wondering about knight d4 in this position. It looks
c5
yeah,
might
it looks
be
strange,
fine,
but I don't think I lose this piece because there is nothing that can attack it. So I will be able to reinforce it with c4, for instance. And if you can't play c5, I mean, it's not hanging right now, but the question is which move to make. This looks very awkward. So you might have to play something like, I don't know, c6. And then all of these things are once again kind of meh for black. Rook AC1 after knight G6. Yeah, it's hang on a second, let me just find the correct position. So CD4, knight G6, Rook AC1. Yeah, that's a better move than Queen C2 actually. Yeah, that's a good spot. Because after C5, compared to the previous line, we are taking on C5 with the rook, not the queen, meaning that the B2 pawn is not hanging. So this is just a pawn. Otherwise, we would have been taking with the queen and black could take on B2. And Rook E4, Rook C7 might not be entirely equal. Yeah, Magnus just goes for this, which is very interesting. Magnus is just, I think, aiming for the most concrete equality as he can find. Because normally I don't think you are that ecstatic about having to take on d4 in these structures. So cd4, another option would be to play knight g6 without taking on b3, but that's probably providing white with more opportunities. Bishop c2 might not be an idiotic move here.
Look, honestly, it doesn't look
d5 maybe.
superior to Rook A8.
Yeah, I still kind of like Rook A8, but I understand it's because I would like them to reinforce what I'm saying every now and again, but it doesn't happen very often. So
E takes
yeah,
plate.
E takes plate. CD4. What do we? Maybe we play. No, I don't think we can play the immediate C5. So it's either bishop takes B3 or knight G6, I would assume. And also, there's, as we mentioned, there's knight takes D4, which I think pretty much forces the position I was discussing, because we're definitely not allowing knight takes C6. And bishop D7, rook A7 looks passive and unhappy.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Once again, you're allowed to sacrifice an exchange after knight c8, rook c7, queen d8, and just win it somehow, Peter. Just,
I don't know. I mean, am I?
Queen h5.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. This has to be.
Rook e7, knight c6.
Yeah,
and,
it looks like this will.
Queen c7 takes, knight takes.
This is actually not
queen
mate,
f7.
sadly, yeah?
Yeah, but maybe you have the follow-up.
Yeah.
Bishop g5,
Something,
I mean,
something.
whatever.
But yeah, this position has to be winning for white, of course. Yeah, like something here is mate. I don't know what it is. Like maybe knight f5, queen h7, queen c7, knight h6, gh, queen g6.
King goes.
Bishop d4 check, rook e5.
Check on d4, rook e5, and bishop f7.
And it's still not mate.
Queen f7.
I wanted to go queen f7, but this is still not mate. I'm so heartbroken about this stuff.
Wait a
like rook
second.
e3. I mean, game continues.
Why did you actually give a check, Peter, on d4? I mean, bishop f7 wasn't bishop f7?
Bishop g7.
That kind of two pieces done. Yeah. Nonsense.
Yeah.
No. Check was cool.
But obviously we're getting very carried away, and I mean the big point here is that white is pretty much winning after the rook takes d7 anyway because of how broken up the black position is. So we're just having fun looking for some kind of completely non-forcing mating sequences, but
you can also keep the material by going rook c6 to end this discussion once and for all.
It's just not happening. People are suggesting 100% force, says Zappa. Absolutely, yeah. Where were we? After cd4, somebody had a suggestion. What if after... No, I think maybe it was in this position. So we take, and just play c6 here. Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit. I don't like this very much for black. I think it's passive and it's very difficult to disentangle yourself. This knight needs to be on g6 to start creating counterplay, but with the pawn on c6 constantly hanging in every single position, it's going to be difficult to achieve. Yeah, I mean, knight d4 is playable. Knight d4 is definitely playable. What do you mean today, Flare Phonics?
I think he politely means that I always
what do you mean today? what kind of disparaging remark is this? Like, stop with the negging.
Mm-hmm.
Negging is a thing of the past.
All right. So you said, yeah, and I believe you. We never let 96 happen.
I don't think you can afford to. I think the position will start crumbling. I mean, you can do something like this, but I really dislike it. I think it's just a recipe for disaster. Somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking even at some concrete things, like maybe I can play f4 here. Because knight f4, rook f1 looks like it might be close to game over, and f5 and e5 and all of these things. Like if black cannot immediately block the bishop on b3, this will...
Yeah, if I cannot take...
Yeah, this will become very painful very soon.
I'm sad.
Yeah. So what do we currently... Like, bishop takes d4 we haven't discussed for a single second, but I just don't see why it would be that great. Because knight h4, queen g5, the queen has those 2 squares, but 2 squares are enough, kind of thing. I'm reading both chats, Isa. Or is it Isa? I don't know. They're even somehow in one window for me, because there's this newfangled...
Because you're a tech genius.
No, Yegor is a tech genius, so he provided me with this thing called Restream Chat, which gives you all of the chat in a single window, which is great on one level, but also it doesn't, like, in this chat I can only reply as Levitov Chess, which gives me sort of less leeway for shitposting. I kind of prefer shitposting under my own name. Is this completely equal? Like if I take on e6 and return to f3, obviously with the bishop straighted on e6 instead of the knight takes, it's much happier for black, but maybe it's just fine. Yeah, c5, knight c6, but it's never entirely equal. Like it doesn't look like it's entirely equal to me after a move like, I don't know, rook a6 here or rook a7 or something. Who is Levitov? Levitov is the boss.
I think it will be fair to describe as him as a friend of ours.
Yeah. Why is Levitov?
Do you care about the pawn, Peter? c5, queen e4.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very confused by everything. And Jan also.
I mean, you can take d6, and I was hoping for it to get messy, but maybe it doesn't. Queen e4, rook d6, knight f5, bishop c5, and I cannot calculate stuff.
Yeah, I think I maybe even have gotten here, and I couldn't really understand what's going on, because the bishop on c5 might be falling. But
there's also
moves, yeah.
There's also queen e1, bishop d6.
Yeah, all that, yeah. And there's also the small matter of Jan having taken with the pawn already, and bishop b3 is also on the board. Queen b3. And knight g6. So all of this played, and currently we like rook ac1 much more than everything else in this position, I think. Because I'm pretty sure it's extremely important to stop c5, or at least make c5 as unattractive as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So rook c1 was...
Yeah, I'm not sure what the reply is. Yeah. I mean, you can probably play a position like this, and I don't know, make a... I would like my knight to be on d5 here, very much, if I can get it there somehow. So I'm attracted to moves like knight e7 with the idea of queen e6, but obviously white will have something to say about it. Knight d2 is a bit awkward, maybe. You have to play rook e6 now, you can no longer play queen e6. Maybe you want queen f5, knight d5 now.
I mean, you could play queen e6 technically.
I think d5
just that.
Maybe it doesn't.
D5.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe this works. Because my rook is also hanging. I didn't see that.
No, I thought, honestly, I haven't seen d5, but I thought like queen d3.
Oh, queen somewhere.
This blunders rook d4 kind of.
Yeah, maybe queen d1.
So. Or queen d1, yeah, and then you're about to start making awfully ugly.
Yeah, weirdly, knight d5 still kind of keeps the game afloat, maybe for one more move, but Knight f4 instead of knight e7. I was worried it will get traded, but knight f4 is also definitely a move. I was legitimately worried we will end up in some kind of position like this where the knight on f3 is actually better than the bishop on f8. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's no big deal. Yeah.
I mean, you take knight d3, perhaps, right?
Knight d3, queen f5, and maybe something like knight b4, knight d5 or something.
Knight b4, I wanted it on d5.
But rook e8 is annoying. It's a bit too far away from the king side, so there is now significant counterplay suddenly. But what happens in this position if you play g3, maybe queen f5, and you play something like knight g2, and try to put it on e3? Yeah, I think this is how you end up in positions you don't really like very much with black. Because this bishop is going to be out of play for a while, and the pawn on b5 in particular will be kind of...
For a while...
worrisome.
As in forever.
I mean, there is g6, bishop g7, but it will take you some time before this can be organized properly with black.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure this is such a happy position. So rook ac1, this is obviously an option. c5? c5, I don't think it works, because we can just take, and I mean, this is obviously bad. You can never play like this, and this, I think, is just a healthy pawn. You don't always win this position with white. I remember I failed to convert something like this against Vichy, because Vichy is good at chess and I'm less good at chess, but you obviously don't play like this.
Look, but also the presence of the b-pawn specifically, right? It's kind of a ready-to-go second weakness, right? I mean, it's something that you're trying to create carefully, and here it is, basically. Bishop c5, rook c5, and you're ready to take the next one.
I mean, rook b7 is just too ugly to discuss properly. Rook bc.
Yeah, I think it has to be something with rook takes e4.
This probably loses material because we're attacking attacking absolutely everything, so it doesn't look right. Although, I mean, you can play rook e8 and then rook b8, but even here, it just
Queen c6,
it doesn't look like this is the right approach. So I'm not sure what I like after rook ac1. I'm not sure if I like anything. Was yesterday the longest world championship match? Yeah, by 14 moves, I think. They beat the record by 14 moves. Could have been more, but once things started happening, they kind of happened really, really quickly in that endgame.
You know, c5 kind of solves most of the issues, but drops the pawn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you get rid of the weakness, you get rid of the passive bishop on f8, and honestly, at some point I was even looking at this, followed by knight f4, but rook f5 is available.
But then maybe we do it here.
Yeah, but then it takes the bishop, and what do I do?
Yeah, it's also not very nice, right?
It's like king takes is meh.
Yeah.
Specifically meh, perhaps after e5, and you don't even have queen g6. Yeah, so queen f5 will need to be played. Yeah,
doesn't
something
look
you're
quite right.
not enjoying all that much.
No, I think to play c5 here, you need to be absolutely convinced you're much worse. Because I don't think there's any hope for immediate equality. Like maybe you can generate some counterplay to make the conversion phase difficult, and maybe in practical terms you make a draw occasionally, but like you need to be kind of desperate to play c5 here.
Yeah, this is not how one equalizes. Yeah. Okay, so let's study it a little bit more careful. Rook takes e4. Rook takes
rook
c7.
e4, rook c7.
Yeah.
We discussed knight e7, we discussed knight f4, at least a little bit. What are the other options? Queen e6 is not ridiculous, but...
Yeah, I have a feeling like I'm generating precisely zero counterplay for the next 15 moves.
Yeah. I mean, even the endgames are kind of annoying. Like, even if I just take and play a move of some description, like rook a1 or...
A1, is what...
I mean, I really would like to stop this from happening, though. Because it does provide some stability for black. If the knight materializes on the d5 square... you probably are not doing too poorly. I'm admiring this new spelling of Jan's name. I don't think, like, he'll be okay with a draw once all the options are like, once the game has been all played out and Magnus equalized, and provided he hasn't missed anything important, he will not be, like, heartbroken. You don't beat Magnus on demand with the white pieces every single time. You need to beat him on demand with the white pieces, but he definitely isn't just happy with the draw today. As a kind of an result, an abstract result, he definitely wants to push. Don't see huge trouble for black in this endgame. Can you explain? I mean, you're passive. In particular, like, I would like to play d5 here, and after, I don't know, rook e8. Like, if I can get the knight to c6 before I lose the d5 pawn, I think I am much better. But the issue is knight e7 comes very quickly, and the pawn on d5 will provide the first serious source of counterplay black has had in a while. So, I can't quite make it work. But, like, this would be clever if not for the fact that black can still take.
If not for knight d5. Can you play d5 and rook d1 all of a sudden?
Just rook d.
Rook c8.
Yeah, you start fighting for the file, and
I was trying to be clever. Knight e7. I wanted to play my Karpov thing.
Maybe
bishop. Knight e7, bishop a7. You know.
Knight e7, bishop
Bishop a7, and then say rook whatever, rook b7.
Yeah, just pick up the guy on d5. Yeah, still, I think it serves as a good illustration of what the dangers.
What's wrong with
what the dangers of the black position are. Like, if something goes wrong, the pawn on b5, you just don't have enough pieces to defend it if white starts attacking it seriously. But what if black put knight on d5 before white moved d4, d5? That's what I was trying to, like, that's what I was talking about for the past, I think, 10 minutes, that this is by far the most important thing for black to achieve. Somehow make sure that the knight lands on d5. But I mean, queen e6 has its issues, and starting with knight e7 also has its issues. And yeah, I can't quite make it work in a way that would make me entirely satisfied. That's probably because, entire satisfaction is just not achievable.
It's a meme.
Yeah. The bishop on f8 looks stupid, says Baba Khrushchev, and yeah, it does look stupid. It does look stupid, but some pieces have come off, so obviously if you improve some other things in your position, you will eventually put it on a square where it makes some sense. We're just trying to figure out if you have enough time here to do that. But I think we've stared at this position for long enough. Let's try to...
Mm-hmm.
Is this ever a move we don't hate? Oh no, we absolutely do hate it because bishop a7 exists here. Yeah, that's just not very good at all. I was trying to kind of finesse things here, but... Also, I think takes on knight d2 is quite annoying because we still cannot play c5 and white is ready to play d5 next move. Yeah, queen e6 is not very good. c5 we think is not a move you...
Is a pawn down.
It's just a full pawn, yeah. Rook b7 I refuse to discuss. I mean, it does feel like you have to play rook takes e4, right?
And the thing is, rook c1 is still not played. I just realized, because I was thinking rook c1's on the board and Magnus is thinking, and we couldn't really find any move apart from rook takes
e4. Yeah, and Nick is asking any other move for white, but pretty much any other move in this position for white does allow c5. Like if I list your options here, like queen d3, c5, we already feel much better with black because we have gotten rid of our backward pawn on c7, and there's counterplay in the center. You might want to play c4 at some point, and it's just much happier once this happens. And rook e1 would be quite clever if black were forced to play rook takes e4, because I think having the option of having 2 rooks on the 7th is really excellent. But I think c5 is just very strong here. I assume this is just sort of equal.
E4, yeah.
And this is the difference. Yeah, not having the rook on e1 in this position just allows black to play c5 straight away. And this is why we were analyzing almost exclusively rook ac1, because I think nothing else really deals with the one very important idea that black has here.
Stockfish says queen takes b5 loses. What?
Yeah, and
you mean here? Yeah. If white takes on b5, he's lost.
I actually caught the moment when I had that number on the screen, Nizahia, but now it's gone. At least it's gone on my screen. Sag.
What we are talking about?
Nizahia said we have the correct number of viewers. Nobody leave, nobody join. But people don't listen to him.
You mean 69K 420 or what?
Yeah, we couldn't get to that high a number, but we did get 420 for a second there. And that's because people refuse to obey Nizahia, as he absolutely has to be obeyed. That's what happens when you don't do as you're told.
Can you ban people from joining the show? Because
it's more likely that you just banned 5 people in that 10 seconds. That is also not an impossible suggestion, Neil. Not an impossible suggestion at all.
Is rook a6 ever a move?
But
e4 is kind of
hanging out. Maybe it's a typo. Maybe they mean rook a7. But I think rook a7 still allows c5. I don't think there is enough pressure against the f7 pawn.
Yeah, that's basically the difference. Why?
Maybe we can try this though. Is this a move? Rook a7, rook a7, c5, e5 with the idea of doing this. It gets double-edged though. I can start pushing maybe. e4.
Pushing me in the right direction, right?
e5 I was trying to make work. Maybe knight h4 actually is not that bad. I like knight h4.
Knight e5 I could dream of taking.
Yeah, I was trying to calculate what's happening here. Because I have all kinds of jumps. I have obviously knight f3 threats, but also knight c6 against some moves, knight d3 against some other moves.
Knight goes to g3.
Maybe bishop f4, yeah, because knight g3, I wanted to go knight d3, and I wanted to claim that I will be able to win the pawn on c5.
Win the pawn on c5.
And maybe I'm not doing so badly.
Which is a right claim.
Maybe I'm not doing so badly, but I think bishop f4 wins. Or, wins is maybe strong, but solves the immediate issues, because we have prevented the jumps by using the pin. And then maybe we get to stabilize next move somehow. But this is very fanciful. And I also, my bigger question is, when you sit here as white, and you're choosing between rook a7 and rook c1, and it's possible that they lead to the same position. Because obviously, if you take on e4 here, white will still be still be taking on c7. I don't think playing queen c2 first does very much, at least not to my mind. So what you're doing is you're still aiming for this position, but you're giving black a very viable additional option of playing c5, or maybe even c6. I don't know what c6 is. Maybe it makes some sense. So I just don't know why you would give your opponent additional options which look like they might be good.
For no particular reason,
yeah.
Right?
Because, sometimes it makes sense. In particular, when you're playing against somebody who you know really likes thinking and is in time trouble every single game. Giving players like this additional options is very much part of the general strategy, and you would get that piece of advice from any kind of good practical player when you play against I don't know, somebody like Sasha or somebody like, I don't know, Andrei Volokitin would be an example from, let's say, the Ukrainian national team over the past 2 decades. The more options you can give a player like this, the better, because they are sort of incapable of not thinking about them. If you give me like 5 options, I will just choose one in the first 5 minutes and just make that move and go for a walk. But like if you give Sasha 5 options, he will probably discuss all five of them with himself until he has 5 minutes.
Yeah, so Rook A7 seems like a negative free roll.
You're just giving yourself a negative free roll.
It's like you probably end up having Rook E5, Rook C7 on the board, right? Unless C5 is stronger.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, Magnus will just take a practical decision there. So I don't think it's a good choice against Magnus. They've spent about an hour getting here, which is sort of thinking neither fast nor slow. It's a kind of a normal pace. Shout out to one of the most popular psychobabble books of the past 3 decades. He's gone Rook E1. This is very confusing to me. What are we missing?
Rook E1, perhaps E5 is
maybe he wants to play
strong.
E5 here. Yeah, this is the point, yeah.
But I'm not entirely
Queen F5?
convinced. Yeah, something like that. Now, Queen F5, I can take D6 and then C4 is happening.
That was my point, exactly. Yeah.
That was the whole point.
And I'm going to start claiming I might be better here with black or something.
You
if
might.
The D6,
if D6 falls, which it does. Queen B4, Queen D5.
I mean, there is Rook A6, but and then Queen C5. This is actually not as clear cut as I originally thought.
Maybe not Queen
D5. Yeah, maybe we go like
Rook B6. There is still Queen C5 though, and it pretty much refutes
this move.
Knight F4. Same Queen C5 intermediate.
Yeah, you can actually do this, because if you force me to trade, you don't really care about the exchange on C1 at all.
Nah.
Yeah,
not
in the slightest. Huh, interesting. Do I have better squares? I mean, I have this square, right?
Well, you kind of do, but then I take on C5.
Yeah, I want to play this position. Yeah, Bishop C5, Knight E5, and I want to claim that I will make a draw. Yeah, Magnus takes like 3 seconds to play C5 as well, which we expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we allowed this with white.
You will make a draw, perhaps.
Is Volodya all right? Why isn't he here? He isn't. He's the guest star, and he's taking a well-deserved day off. I understand your bitter disappointment at only seeing us here, but it cannot be helped, Siddhartha.
Parn, be back in 30
Absolutely.
seconds. If you're okay with,
Let me do the wide thing. Yeah, it's a bit confusing to me why Rook E1 was chosen over Rook A1. I mean, unless something in these tactical variations actually works out, but I think if I think long enough, I'm pretty sure I can even make Queen F5 to work, and I also think Queen D8 holds. So Queen F5 takes, we go C4, Queen B4, and now maybe something like Queen D7, Rook A6, Rook BD8 or something. And I mean, if I get to take on D6 next, and I think I can do it even after Knight E5, which is kind of important here, because we're attacking this queen, so we can ignore the fact that our queen is hanging. I'm not upset. I was just, you're not the first one to ask this question, so at some point I need to start having fun with it for my own personal sanity. So yeah, I think Queen F5 might work, and also, as I mentioned, I think Queen D8 is a reasonably comfortable draw. because if you allow c5, c4 in this structure, you might start thinking about being better with black. So d takes c5 is the only real principled move. I take, and I don't think there's anything smarter here than bishop takes c5. And I'm pretty sure this just is a draw after both bishop f8, knight f3, queen f3, let's say king takes f8 here. Or you can take on e5 first and we get a similar position. Maybe I take it with a queen here. There's just not very much left to play. I mean, white is maybe arguably a little bit more active, but there is so little material left that I don't think it is very difficult for black to hold. I think it should be very, very manageable. Yeah. I had a discussion with a childhood friend of mine about yesterday's game, and he was saying that he thought the overall praise for the game was slightly overhyped, and that Jan made a number of decisions which were difficult to understand. Tell me when we're good.
I think we are.
Okay.
Okay.
And I still think that if we talk about yesterday's game, the only decision that I really, really kind of struggled to explain during the live show was Queen e4. Everything else I can explain in human words reasonably confidently, but Queen e4 was very surprising. Rook e c1 today would be a move that I would like some clarification on. I don't understand how you end up making this move. Because, I mean, the fact that he played some kind of move like this instead of just protecting the pawn on e4 with, I don't know, with queen c2 or queen d3, means that he understands black wants to play c5 against anything. So why choose the move which still allows black to play c5? This is confusing to me. Yeah, I mean, talking about the yesterday game, I still think it was a fantastic game, but mainly because of the drama and the extreme high stakes and the sort of the volatility and the weird positions that we saw. But they definitely, both of them, played cleaner in their lives. You know, they both definitely had games which featured fewer somewhat unforced errors. It was still fantastic to watch and fantastic to talk about, but yeah, it wasn't the best game ever in the history of chess.
Yeah, like rook c8 perhaps is something you can question, allowing the trade, because it didn't look like he had any kind of trouble.
Yeah, I think he just,
right?
If we talk about this, obviously without the position on the board, I don't know how interested our viewers are in all these subtleties. I can actually get the position up on the board in a second, but yeah, we have a game going on. But I think the decision to trade the queen for the two rooks was mainly connected. Like we liked b5 before in that position, and he probably didn't. And if you don't like b5 before, if before doesn't satisfy you tactically for whatever reason, you might think that you have to kind of complicate the game, because if you allow this very slow plan with like queen d1, e3, and so on, you just think that you will be kind of worse without no counterplay. So you just take a practical decision to go for something sharp, which might not be entirely correct, but at least gives you something to calculate.
See, guys, Peter. No, we are not doing the recaps. Also, Peter talking about yesterday's game for half an hour.
Absolutely.
And is ready to analyze it on the board.
Yeah, extremely ready. Anything not to look at this position. Haha. I'm not trying to take Jan's life for playing rook e1. I'm just expressing my honest feelings about the move.
Yeah, so okay then. How does white get the advantage? E5?
Yeah, e5 is the only thing that makes any sense. I think, like, if we look at this position, like, why would you even claim you're better here with white? Things are just coming off, and b2 against b5, you're not winning very many of these.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go back or something, but then even rook b4 exists. Like, it just feels like there will be mass simplifications here, leading to positions very, very easy to equalize for black, or perhaps already equal. In the queen f5 line, why queen d7, not queen d5? Let me show you. So queen f5, eg, c4, queen d4. If you play queen d5 here, there is the move rook a6. But we can just go rook e d8, queen c5, rook takes d6. I'm being an idiot. Yeah, this is much simpler. I missed rook d6. I just completely missed rook d6 here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this is also completely fine. Yeah.
Once again, might be more than fine. If white doesn't have anything.
Yeah, and e5 played, and
e5 played, and that's good news.
We sort of expected this was the explanation for rook e1, because otherwise I just don't. It's very hard for me to figure out what he was planning. If black wants to play for more than just equality, there is still this option, which I think does lead to very sharp positions. The problem...
Wait a second, without the rook on a7, though, can I maybe kind of try to slow play it?
But where do you want to put it?
Now, as black, I thought maybe I'm not forced to go e4. But
yeah, we can do something like this, but then we will be slightly worse, I think.
Queen c6?
Queen c6, maybe, yeah.
But rook a7,
rook a7 is kind
again.
of, annoying with all of those ideas, maybe.
Yeah. I was hoping like to go queen c6 and b4 and maybe isolate the c5 dude, but...
This is a kind of a structure that you get in a Grunfeld quite often, but it's equal if you have activity to go with it. And here I don't think we have enough activity, and this is why I was trying to push for like e4, followed by
But
knight.
Look, but the difference is that now there is knight d4.
There's knight d4, there's also, somewhat weirdly, I quite like this move, with the idea of just instantly trading this knight off.
Trading,
just getting rid, because I think this is the best piece black has in this position. It wants to go here, in some cases it will be looking quite nice on the c6 square and so on. So by just getting it off the board as soon as possible, I think white secures a very stable advantage because of this passer, and also the bishop on f8 is stupid. And I think that sort of the bigger thing about this is that currently we see absolutely no risk for black after something like queen f5, or even queen d8. And d5, dc5, you definitely run risks. So unless this is somehow clearly better for black, which I do not think is possible, I just see no practical reason for us to do this.
So queen f5, can I still take on c5?
Sure.
For clarity's sake. And then bishop c5, knight e5
just knight
is
e5,
precisely the position we were talking about.
There's just nothing here, I think. I mean, you have knight d4, but like I'll play queen d3 if I have to. I don't think I will have.
You'll play
pretty
whatever,
much whatever, but also
I don't
this.
think,
Although there's rook
don't
c3.
think white's any better.
Yeah. I just it feels like there is so little here to even pretend. Queen f6 looks normal. Anything looks normal here. And currently d takes e5 is not a threat, and maybe you can make an argument that c takes d4, knight takes d4, and then knight c6 is also not a threat. But what is a threat, of course, is c5, c4. So that is a very long way of saying white cannot wait. I don't think you can
queen d5.
Queen d5 maybe, but with the queen on d5 now I can take, right? Because I have queen takes e5 and this is hanging, so you don't have a tempo to play knight c6. And queen f5 in the meantime has been played by Magnus.
Would you believe in some sort of a pawn sack?
I mean, white probably has enough compensation to not be much worse.
Queen, I don't know, b3 back or f3. Or
white probably is fine, but white also, is not going to be better after, I don't know, queen e4 or whatever. Like, why would you feel you're better here with white?
If I'm winning the b pawn.
Yeah, but even if that happens, you still probably spend so much time on it, then black will be able to stabilize.
I mean, first of all, I don't see it happening because b4.
Yeah.
I mean, b4.
But also, absolute best scenario in some position like this. So it's just, maybe not absolute best scenario, but black always has, I think, enough play there. And also queen d5. I suspect there might be, like, what's the reply to c4? Maybe g4 or something. But we're definitely kind of trying to, I think we're sort of, we're trying to play for a loss here. We're trying to make the position do something that the position is not very well equipped to do. I just don't believe in it very much.
Maybe because we can no longer.
C4 rook a5 says Jake. Yeah, I agree. Rook a5 probably is the best move here, but I also think this shouldn't give white anything. There's probably a tactical reason to. Like, I keep on being very curious about the move knight e7. But yeah, Jan goes dc5 as. But if Jan goes dc5, this game is just going to be a draw, right?
Yeah, dc5, it's not much you can do.
DC is just, we've discussed this.
And bishop c5 is already played. Maybe after all he wasn't able to kind of,
I think
to establish any kind of composure after yesterday's loss. I mean, it's been 8 hours, and there are rumors spreading that they also have kind of a 1 hour drive to and from the game, so it adds up.
It does add up. Yeah,
40 minutes drive that is, but you can imagine. I mean, if it's 40 minutes, it takes you up to 1 hour.
Yeah.
Math lessons with Miro. 40 minutes, roughly.
Yeah, roughly equals 1 hour. Yeah.
No, I mean, no, seriously, it's like game starts at what, 4:30, right? You cannot leave 10 minutes to 4.
Yeah. And if game starts at 4:30, they finished past midnight last night. So yeah, absolutely not blaming either of the players for not being entirely fresh today. This is, I mean, I've had some difficult games in my life, and playing, if you have to play on the next day, very often you are kind of completely broken up, and your head barely operates. And I've had some like sequences of disasters like this. And Jan, he didn't have a disaster. He made one move we disagreed with, and now the position is very equal, and probably the game will end in a draw. But no blame attaches here. After yesterday, he would have to be.
Yeah, and people asking why don't they stay closer to the venue, because the venue itself is in a desert. The Dubai Expo thing is built in a desert, and you have a choice of spending, the entire match in a tent near the venue, or
Yeah. And I mean, compared to, let's say, a normal, like for me, needing a 40-minute drive to get to the round in the kind of tournaments I play these days would have been a very, very big problem, because I generally tend to prepare like on the morning of the game, and this very directly eats into my already kind of limited preparation time. But for a World Championship match, I assume Jan himself doesn't really do very much chess work within games, and if he does, I think it's a kind of a failing to organize the work for the team, because he should be staying as fresh as possible between games and not really like clicking in some kind of a weird position. So it's less of a problem, but it does obviously add up.
Who is in better physical shape, Jan or Magnus? That's the question, which is very hard to answer.
And people are saying
what I would be comfortable stating, that Jan is in a better physical shape than Jan half a year ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, he made a very concerted effort to get into much better shape, and I think clearly has a lot of success with it. I've read somewhere that they hired some kind of a proper sports person to.
Limo.
No, somebody I think from a German football club was mentioned as part of the team, as a kind of a physical coach, or
physical.
Yeah, just somebody to also oversee the workouts and things of that nature. And the reason Magnus hasn't played knight takes e5 just yet, I guess is that he actually has this option of taking on c5 first and then taking on e5. And the fact that knight f3, let's say this is a big, big mistake because you just lose an exchange like that. So maybe maybe this way you actually get more pieces of the board. There is king h1, but I assume there is a good reply to it. Maybe even just simply something like
Your queen d3
queen d3
seems to
or
work
queen
once
f4
again.
maybe or something. Queen f4 looks logical. To have the rook on b8 protected here, and also this threat is kind of useful.
Yeah, rook b8 is not a good intermediate in this
not
particular position.
particularly. So I quite like queen f4, just continuing to force trades. And in general, I mean, both moves are, I'm pretty sure, basically a draw, but the one that gets more pieces off the board probably is slightly favored here for Magnus, just to nail it down completely. There's some interesting historical lessons in chat there. Some broad sweeping statements about the respective natures of the Russian and the German peoples, which we obviously very much welcome and absolutely agree with everything. Kappa. But yeah, both moves should be a very comfortable draw for Magnus here.
There is also a Russian saying about. I mean, on the subject of peoples,
Yeah.
there is also a Russian saying which kind of states explicitly that those two should not share the same routines, because something that is enjoyed by Russians might lead to not very good consequences for the Germans.
There is well, probably this topic needs to be kind of, maybe not needs to, but like probably we should steer clear of.
Yeah, of course.
All that.
Nothing.
It's kind of funny that people just go there blithely and enjoy themselves. Really, not very much. Until Magnus chooses one of the two, there's really not very much to say about this position, honestly. I feel like Jan also is just sitting there thinking, just choose something already. We both know how this game ends. So, why prolong it? If the position was slightly more alive than it is, maybe that would have been reason enough for Magnus to actually start thinking if maybe he can be better. But I think the position is so completely level that, unless knight f4 works, I've been kind of wondering, maybe this is what he's thinking about. It kind of just dawned on me that this move exists. And, yeah, you kind of have to, but maybe queen c2,
Knight
maybe.
queen d. Wait, knight d4. Queen c2 is also
Knight d4,
thing, right?
It starts becoming kind of really worrisome. No, now everything is hanging. Like absolutely every single piece is hanging now. And yeah, I don't know how much enjoyment you will get out of this.
Yeah, maybe queen f3.
But I just take
with
right,
the
and I just go knight
pawn.
d3. You have bishop d6.
Knight d3, bishop
You have
f8.
d6
I
there.
thought, yeah.
Bishop d6 there. Yeah, I miss.
It's not that I'm better.
Yeah, I can
like,
go like rook e5 and claim I'm
anything,
slightly better now because rook g5 check avoids the forks. But I think queen c2 actually solves everything because we stop queen g6, which is kind of knight takes h3 though. But then I guess we go king h2.
Kind of. King
no, but hang on a
h2.
second. Like I take, but you take on h3 because otherwise knight f4. But at least I think this is why Magnus is thinking, because
that's why Magnus is
queen e3.
thinking.
I think after queen e3 I was like, my plan was to play knight g3, but I guess the same tactic works again. Yeah, I just kept on missing bishop d6. Yeah, this is a good reply. Shoe event horizon. I just missed bishop d6 here. So it's fair play to Magnus being kind of doing his due diligence, checking if maybe Jan allowed a little bit too much here, but I don't think he has. And then, it's just a choice within two ways of making a very, very solid, very, very clear draw. Yeah, bishop c5 eventually played. I did think this was probably the more practical choice of just going for the maximum amount of simplifications. And
you can't even do anything.
Yeah, I think pieces just come off, yeah. The one try I had, quote unquote try, was king h1, but it just doesn't do anything at all. Your queen d3 was also perfectly fine, like there's absolutely nothing wrong with this move. Rook c3 and just put it on any square, I don't know. Back to f5, for instance. So that you don't even dream of playing 94. Yeah. No, we might actually get a reasonably short day today. Who is winning? I think today nobody's winning, chess players quotes. I think today friendship is winning. Friendship is triumphant.
Is Kramnik the last Russian world champion? So far.
Yeah, so far is a good answer. Yes.
So, what do we think, Peter, about my bold prediction that was the last chance for Jan? I mean, the way he played this game, he doesn't think so himself.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly had some kind of all-in options along the way, which he ignored.
Yeah, so that kind of hints at him banking on next set, like 3 out of is white. Yeah, so which is going to happen.
Yeah.
Next Friday, starting from next Friday, right?
I don't agree with it, and I think you have a point, but I don't think it's that bad. I mean, there's definitely merit in what you're saying, but it's not as desperate as you're describing. But obviously, immediately striking back on the next day would have been the absolute best case scenario. And like in recent years, I remember when there was this kind of a very dry match between Boris and Vichy in Moscow in 2012, right? 2012, I think.
12.
Yeah. And then Boris won that that game in the kind of the Slavish type positions that they were playing when Boris was white. And the fact that Vichy immediately struck back in the F3 Grunfeld, I think, was incredibly important because if Boris held that game, it would have become much, much harder later. But I don't think the match necessarily ends with the draw today. Yeah, the pieces are just going to come off. I'm kind of expecting Queen C3 on the next move. I think Queen C3 is a good practical choice here. I mean, I'm kind of kidding. Like, obviously, there is nothing here to analyze. And somebody asked in chat if they just offer a draw or continue playing. They can't offer a draw by regulations. Regulations forbid draw offers until move 40. Yeah, and Queen C3 is on the board, so that just like stuff just comes off, and you don't have to pretend anymore.
Would you please, I mean, show a little something, like takes on c3 and b4 would be a mistake.
Would it? I was trying to calculate. It might actually be a serious mistake, yeah.
b1 and rook b2. I mean, just show the trick. No, rook b2
Why?
you have to...
I don't think I have to, yeah.
Here you're on time with king f1 as well.
But you play rook c8 and obviously you can go like rook b1. Yeah, you can't even do that. Yeah, you can play.
No, I just wanted to mention that this thing, it's typically done with not king f1 but rook b2 and then
king rams to c4.
King comes and you can't really.
And this is actually maybe a good point, yeah, just to try to teach it properly so that people know the patterns. And
yeah, because here you are on time with king f1, b2, king e2.
Yeah. Because
but if we move it one file to the left, right, the rook b2 motif still works.
But this might
here
not.
you're just
Here specifically,
just
you
waiting.
need to be in time to protect the pawn on c3. Otherwise, this makes a draw for black. And yeah, I mean, there's no real point in us showing what's happening on the board there.
What's going on? Yeah, it's a rook ending three pawns each.
The game will be over in
On
about
one side.
in about 20 seconds here, and
So it was a relatively not relatively fast. It was a fast.
it was
game.
like 2.5
shortest so far.
2.5 hours is not very much. And it does seem like the entire game sort of hinged on one decision here. We are not checking the engines on this stream very much, so we don't really know whether the engines even think white is better after rook ac1. But in terms of continuing the game, sort of keeping the game alive, we are pretty sure that this was the way to go. So yeah, not in very clear opposition to yesterday. Not very much to discuss today. Once again, it feels like Jan got a little bit of something out of the Spanish, and kind of similarly to Game 5, he made one somewhat inaccurate move, and it was all gone, and the game ended up being a draw. Tomorrow Magnus is white. Before the third rest day. Yeah, Magnus wants. I think the way these two games have gone, Magnus definitely wants to put as much pressure on Jan as possible tomorrow. Because, I mean, +2 would be kind of borderline impossible to recover from.
Yeah.
And I say this as somebody who, was once +2 with 2 to go. And still
+2.5 almost.
yeah. So, I mean, clearly mathematically nothing is impossible, but recovering from those types of deficits is not something that happens every day.
Yep.
So if chat has something pressing to discuss, we will discuss it, since this does look like a pretty relaxed working day for us. But in general, today is kind of a semi-rest day for everybody.
The game is officially concluded, by the way.
Yeah. Why isn't Nepo going for the martial? Wouldn't that fit his style? I don't think there is a style that the martial attack fits, because I think the martial attack these days is just a competition in who has the better notes. And in fact, I think nobody has the better notes. Pretty much everybody has the same notes, and the notes say black is not worse. So there's really nothing stylistically, defining martial attack as something special. It's just a very, very concrete position where there's a number of solutions which all appear to be working. Like there's more than one decent move in this position which appears to just be making a draw. When will we have an Indian world champion? The current generation is extremely promising, but they're all very, very young. So I think starting from, 2026 cycle, or maybe even 2 years later than that, the current crop will get to the point where, if they continue the progression that they're showing right now, people like Nihal and Prag and Gukesh, they will all be like 20, 22 years of age. And, if they continue improving at the rate that they're improving, they might be contenders. But I don't think earlier than that is particularly likely. Vishy, if Vishy just decides to kind of reappear like a phoenix yet again, you can never rule it out. But if we're talking about the current crop, you have to wait a bit. What do you think?
Yeah. Why Jan keeps playing this if there is no advantage? I mean,
there is some advantage.
That's an appropriate question.
But is there no advantage? There's no advantage in the final position, but I don't know if.
Yeah, that's one thing. And if that'd be such a choice of the opening with the advantage, I bet he would have picked one of those. Right? I mean, that's a bit of an issue nowadays. That there's no clear path to an advantage. Or I mean, getting a playable position is already kind of an achievement. which he actually manages game after game after
Yeah,
game.
I think he's doing quite well with the white pieces, honestly, judging by the outcomes. Okay, serious question, says Clown Basket. Have you ever changed your plans or a move over the board because of where your opponent was looking at the board? What about you?
You mean like opening?
Yeah, like
threat,
probably
or-
something in the opening or maybe somewhere mid-game.
Well, perhaps, but it's not. It's kind of him hinting at I'm about to blunder something. Yeah, perhaps.
I actually have a slightly different answer. I have done something like this, and I even maybe I even remember the last time this happened. I was playing against Andrei Yesipenko in the World Cup in 2019,
Mhm.
I think. No, I think in 2019, and he went for a Grunfeld line he's never played before, and I suspected it might happen, and I had a plan for the game, and then I kind of looked up, almost having made the move I was planning to make, and he kind of seemed happy. It's not specifically where he was looking, but he was just sitting there, kind of slightly jumping like in this kind of hyperactive style of his, like being clearly quite excited about something in the position, and it was still a very theoretical position. And I thought, okay, recently I've been doing this, so he's probably expecting this, and he does look a little bit too happy. So he probably has something there that he is very excited to try. And I just switched to some random line. I didn't equalize, but at least I didn't play what they were expecting. And he told me after the game that he had an idea in what I was normally doing in that Bishop e3 Grunfeld. So I have kind of changed tack during the game, judging by so the general outlook of like what my opponent seemed to think about what's happening on the board.
Is there another game tomorrow? We have been reminded that there is.
Yes, there is. There is one more game tomorrow. Magnus playing the white pieces, and then there's a break. What do we think of chess as an e-sport? What do we think of chess as an e-sport?
I don't think of chess as an e-sport, to be honest.
Yeah, that's one way of answering it. The other one would be to say that all kinds of records are currently being destroyed on Twitch in terms of viewership for this match, and this is classical. This is not, supposedly people hate classical. Supposedly this is slow and boring and nobody watches this. There were 6-figure audiences yesterday on most of the main channels. So, I mean, it doesn't really make chess an e-sport, but it does show that there is definitely a lot of people out there who would very much like to watch exciting chess. It's just that,
But we need new patch.
Yeah,
Rules haven't changed for 400 years.
Bring back Vlad with his insistence that we never castle ever again. Obviously, like Vlad is in charge of patches. Yeah, Vlad is the core of chess.
Nerf castling, yeah.
Vlad is the core of chess. I want to restate that.
Castling. Unnerf the stalemate. Stalemate should be a win, and castle shouldn't be allowed.
Something like that, yeah. But in general, I think there's a very large, somewhat untapped audience out there who wants to watch good, exciting chess with good commentary. The thing is, the World Championship match is something that does happen very often, and normal classical tournaments don't draw anywhere near that amount of attention. So, yeah, you obviously have to do something about that. You probably want to. What has already been happening, you want to make time controls shorter and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Chess is just a sport. Yeah, I mean, sort of. Yes, but it
kind
also. I mean, we are in a somewhat privileged position in that we. Unless we start discussing, there are obviously, drawbacks to a lot of chess being played online, to do with game integrity and stuff, which haven't really been solved, I think, adequately as of yet. Progress has been made, but I don't think you can make a claim that it has been entirely solved. But chess is uniquely comfortable in the online environment, because the pieces can be pictures on the screen. They don't need to be physical pieces, and that doesn't apply to almost any other sport. But yeah, I mean, there are challenges there. I loved it more when it wasn't so popular. Yeah, get all the normies away from our niche activity. Let's gatekeep. Gatekeeping is very important and very good.
Okay, speaking of niche activities and normies, since we are done for today, it seems,
let's wrap it up.
I'll-
I'll play that Visha and Vladi interview yet again, because maybe some people missed it at the start of the stream. And we will be back tomorrow at the usual time with Game 8, Magnus with the white pieces, and
possibly Vlad.
and possibly
Let's-
Vlad, or there are some rumors. There are some rumors of some other.
At least at the very beginning, we will have better numbers. I mean, I don't know if he. No, I mean seriously, I don't know. He might join, of course.
Get Vlad tomorrow, or don't bother! 3 exclamation marks. Where's my sword? Why don't I have a sword on this machine? I mean, the sword is like over there. It's like 30 centimeters away, but already I don't feel like changing the mouse and like clicking on buttons which are not immediately in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah. See you guys tomorrow, or don't bother. I guess is the the big takeaway here.
Is the slogan for now. Yeah.
Cheers.
You play chess? You want to know all the secrets of grandmasters? You want to watch all current tournaments and know everything about chess history? Levitov Chess World is much more than everything above. Unique documentaries about Garry Kasparov, Vladimir Kramnik, and many other legends of chess. Streams from the biggest tournaments. World Championship, Magnus versus Nepomniachtchi, commented by Peter Svidler, Evgenij Miroschnichenko. The Candidates Tournament, Tata Steel Chess Tournament. Exclusive interviews, Daniil Dubov, Viswanathan Anand, Jean-Christophe Duda, Alexander Grishuk, and of course, awesome educational videos with elite international chess coaches. Play chess, love chess, and subscribe now. New video every week. Turn on notifications and don't miss all the exciting moments of the chess world.
Visha, you played 2 matches against Carlsen. You are the most experienced match player against him, and overall, I'd say 6 matches is almost like you probably it's like the 3rd place in history in terms of amounts of matches you played. What do you expect in November, December in Dubai? Will there be any hard fight?
What can I say? I think the most important thing first is that Nepo's style is somehow incompatible with Magnus's, in the sense that for Magnus it's not easy to lock into this style. Mm-hmm. But whether he can actually, Nepo can keep the, I should probably call him Jan. He should keep.
Nepo is okay.
Yeah, he should keep the. He's the only one who probably has the ability to get this tactical style against Magnus. If he can keep the position sharp and tactical, and of course Magnus has improved a lot in the last years, so I don't think my old impression of him as, not that he was bad at it, but he seemed to avoid it then. Now he's not like that.
You mean
I think
avoid
Nepo will have chances
tactics?
if he can keep that. Sorry?
You mean Magnus avoided tactics before, right?
Yes, I think in 13-14, I mean, his technical thing was often he would choose the smallest advantage, simplify to the smallest advantage where there was no risk, rather than slightly easier solutions. But I think he was so confident that he would win anyway, that he would go for the smallest edge as long as it could be clean up. And in openings, then he tended not to take a lot of risk because he felt that that's the one area where people could catch up, and he made a big effort to avoid that. He would avoid main lines like the plague before. Now that has changed. Of course, there's been so much computer influence recently that everyone has evolved. So, but still, I feel that Magnus is vulnerable under these circumstances. I mean, if the position is difficult enough, it's difficult for everyone. So, and Jan can do that. He has the talent to pursue it, but I don't so many. My problem is with Jan is that I don't see many paths for him to do that. I think he has the option to do it, and if he has worked well and he can be very intelligent about it, then he can get the kind of position where he's gifted. But Jan is also he has huge swings, and that is a big question mark. He can swing on the up, of course, but he can also swing in the other direction. I mean, to himself on the last day in Zagreb, the final blitz day, is kind of for me the most recent example of what is he doing? Of course, it's blitz, and maybe you shouldn't read too much into it, but you have the sense of what is he doing? Because when he was playing well, he was it seemed effortless for him. So, of course, Magnus is a huge favorite, but Jan will definitely have his chances. For Magnus, it's inevitably getting difficult. I mean, it's already his fifth match.
Yes.
So I don't think the fire is burning so hard inside, and he's also been complaining about it for a while. Whereas for Jan, he should be very motivated now. So it can be interesting. Look, if I knew how to beat Magnus, I would have attempted it myself. So let's see if Jan can figure it out.
Vladimir, what do you think?
Yeah, in general, I agree with Vishy, but it's also the preparation is very important. We don't know anything about how they prepare, what they prepare, and I think the beginning of the match will be first few games would be maybe 3-4 games would be very important because it's difficult. And I remember when playing my first match with Gary. Well, you're under pressure, and if things would start to go wrong, it's anything can happen. And for me, the first 2 games was very important that I started to take the lead, or even the first game that I drew. All slowly I started to feel like, I'm just a very valid and serious opponent of the World Championship match. Frankly, I was not totally sure about it before the match, and. So for the challenger, it is important to, after the start of the match, to get the feelings that you are in that, that it's, that you are as valid as, I would say, valuable a player in the match as a world champion. Yeah, so it's somewhere deep inside you, and if it goes wrong, you might start to be shaky. It's even if you make four draws, you lose game 5, it's easier. It's okay, you are in the fight already. But so maybe, the first 2-3 games, in my opinion, might be very important. And if Jan manages those games without too much damage, he will get his confidence, and then it will be more difficult already for Magnus.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good point, that you get the feeling that you belong. That you're not out of place. You didn't just walk in and you accidentally got there. And once you have that feeling, then you become more confident. But every challenger probably has that phase where you think, what if it goes horribly wrong, what will people say? And so it's nice to get that off your chest a bit. Yeah.
It's also the match is 14 games now, which is it's already actually for Jan it's bad news, I think. And they made they made a schedule when they play 3 games in a row.
That's right.
3. So I think it's a very negative, bad news for Jan, because Magnus is.
No, but it's not that important. I mean, again, if you're in good shape, if you're in bad shape, physical and psychological, and bad preparation, nothing will help you in the World Championship match. If you're in good, you can manage. Yeah, it's not easy to play 3 in a row. I agree, but you can manage everything. Yeah, so it's pretty much depends on that, I believe. I mean, I agree with you, Ilya, that it works in the favor of Magnus because he's physically also extremely strong and healthy. But I don't think it is a decisive, point. Maybe it's have to be ready, mentally also, and not only but mentally ready for anything. Ready to play 2 games a day, to play every day. You have to be ready to fight.
That's
whatever
interesting.
are the circumstances.
Yeah, Magnus has been playing like I don't know, like computers are playing. He's been playing all the time for the last I don't know, 9 months, 9 months. He's played I don't know, 5, 6 classical tournaments, then including World Cup, which is a very hard tournament, numerous online games. Do you think it could affect his play in the match negatively or
Not at all. I think Carlsen is someone who cannot prepare at home for very long, so he needs this. But on the good side, if anything, he's getting better as it goes along.
Yeah.
So that normally you should be a little bit sick of chess on his schedule, but he's still motivated. He comes up with good result after another. It's impressive, and I attribute most of it to his fitness and his willingness to play every game till the end. I mean, even positions which are so dead, he somehow sits there and he's plodding along.
Yeah.
He has not lost this. And these 2 qualities, I mean, even in his worst form, these 2 qualities will keep him in any match. But it's really impressive what he has done. Jan has very impressive performances, but far fewer than Magnus. If you take their worst days, then Magnus is much stronger. Of course, on his best days, Jan is closer to Magnus, but on his worst days, he's much further away than Magnus on his worst days. And but Magnus's fitness, as long as that's his biggest strength, because in any match it allows him to stay competitive even at the end.
Fantastic. Are you planning?
What are your plans, by the way, Vishy?
Yeah, Vishy. What are your plans? Big tournaments?
At the moment, nothing yet. I'm looking forward to doing commentary in Dubai. I think it'll be a new experience. And,
where you commenting on what channel?
For FIDE, the official broadcast.
The official broadcast. Whoa.
Yeah. And it'll be a nice experience to be there and not feel the tension.
Yeah.
But try to remember the tension because you want to try and communicate something. And after that, I will see.
Okay.
Hopefully, some tournaments will turn up next year and I'm fine. But anyway, thanks to Bundesliga, I will not be out of the rating list in a few months. Because otherwise, I would not have played a classical game for 2 years and
Oh, really? Yeah.
my rating would be retired.
Yeah.
So after Bundesliga, I lost 1 point, but at least I'm still on the rating list.
No, but I think that they introduced some new rules that because of COVID, they don't put people out of the list, no?
Yeah, no, but they extended it to 2 years from 1 year.
Yeah.
But I'm very close to 2 years. I mean, by February, I will finish 2 years. So without a classical game. Okay, nobody played classical chess for a long time, except the guys who played in Norway or something last year. The rest of us were not playing classical. Anyway, I'm joking. Of course, it doesn't matter. But okay, at least I got that out of the way.
Yeah. Looking at both of you, I remember the game you played in this Legends tournament online. We should organize something like that again. That was a fantastic game, actually.
Yeah, that's French.
Yeah.
This one,
It was really, really crazy.
Yeah. No, it was a beautiful game when I played it, and I was very angry that I didn't win it. But then afterwards, I saw Rustam's annotations, and I was even angrier that I didn't see all. Because his annotations are even more spectacular. Because of course he put the engine, and the game was even more beautiful than I realized. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But you get this little bit by accident. It was. It's very special. That game, I think, maybe the most interesting Vladdy and I played.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah, we played quite a number of international, but that was what entertaining. I mean, actually, I didn't care. I mean, well, not playing professionally already. I didn't care whether I win or lose. Even if I would lose, I would still enjoy it enormously. Yeah, because it's rarely that such incredible motifs are happening. Yeah, and on the chessboard. So yeah, that was was very nice. I mean, now as a chess amateur, I would say I kind of more tend to enjoy interesting games than pleasant results somehow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
no,
if it
and
comes
Vladdy
together,
always
that
starts
is
many
just
years.
amazing.
Yeah, Vladdy starts many years early. I think when I realized he had played Berlin already like 2 years ago, before the match with Gary, he had started playing the Berlin, I think, in Weichensee in some Blitz game and against Shiro. So he was already testing it well in advance. And already last year, Vladdy was testing not to castle. So
Yeah.
always thinking ahead a bit.
No, but you started not to castle in 2008, Vishy. You played half of the games without castling in Bonn.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, so.
Of course, Vienna, I stay on E7. Then Meran, I stay in the center. And
And
even the
with white also
Nimzo,
in
because I didn't have time to
both
castle.
two Nimzos.
Yeah.
F3 and Queen C2. Yeah. So
Both also. So a lot of not castling.
Okay, thank you very much, Vishy, for joining us. Thank you, Vladdy, for doing this. I hope to see you someday, somewhere after this nightmare ends. And please stay healthy.
yeah, it was a pleasure,
Thanks,
Visha,
Vladdy.
and I hope to have a dinner with you in Dubai. Yeah, I will probably come for a few days at some point. So
Yeah, I heard that you might be stopping by. So definitely we should catch up there. And I haven't seen you since... only Dortmund. That's true. It's not so long.
You played in Dortmund
yeah,
summer.
We
But
didn't
now-
castle, but I saw him. So,
Yeah, but now the times have changed. You can sit for half a year at home and it feels like 6 years. So
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Will you
good
come
luck.
to Dubai by any chance, Ilya?
No, I will be commentating here on my channel, so I'll stay in Moscow, unfortunately.
Okay.
But
Okay,
if the
look after
match-
yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. See you guys. Thank you very much.